let's start off. I think we should get kind of meta, like right away, and talk about, because one of the things I always want people to know is kind of what happens behind the scenes. So a lot of people feel like, or maybe not, maybe they have an idea of what it's like, but there's a lot of stuff that we do that viewers don't see. So, I mean, to say right away, we've been here for about a half hour prior to stream, just getting things set up and ready for this. And I don't think people think about that stuff. So the fact that like we're using a program and capturing all our webcams in different places and putting them up the screen together, like they just see all of our faces and it's like, yeah. But like we've been doing this for a while. So I want to start off by talking a little bit about like what you guys do as streamers and kind of what brought you to streaming in the first place. So we'll go right around the thing here. So SK, talk a little bit about why you started streaming and like why it's a thing that you continue to do, if you don't mind.
Oh man. Okay, cool. So why I started streaming, honestly, I saw a friend doing it. I had no idea about Twitch, before I did it. And I saw a friend doing it. Not even a good friend, just a random person. They were streaming. I'm like, what the heck are they doing? Curiosity probably killed the cat, but now I'm here 2 years later. But so honestly, I just came. I was like, let me check this thing out. I watched their stream and I'm like, this is pretty cool. And then I had this moment where I'm like, I hang out every day. I game every night. And for a long time in my internet world, I had sort of felt like a community type person where I enjoyed just finding a group of friends where I could hang out and do stuff with. And so there was like other examples of that before I came to Twitch. But I was kind of in a lull from all that, and I needed a new place. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. And so I was playing, and I think my friend Chris and Lily, who's actually in chat, she's still here all this time later. And has been a mod for me and a good friend of mine for a while. But she was my first viewer. Her and Chris, they came and they would watch me while we played games together. And then slowly people just started filtering in. So that was kind of it. I mean, nothing magical. Just kind of randomly wandered into Twitch, which is weird, and to get even more meta and think about how I know all you wonderful people just because of an off chance. Some person that I didn't even really like that much, I just happened to stop by their channel, got me into Twitch, which is kind of crazy. So. Pretty cool actually, but that's kind of my story on how I got started.
The origins. Acorn, how about you? When did you get started?
Strangely 2 years ago. I didn't do any 2-year anniversary this year. I did one last year, but it's really weird to think that it's been 2 years because when I started streaming, I was in a really different part of my life. I was going through a huge transition, was not very happy with how my life panned out. Decided to really just kind of focus on being happy instead of trying to like do what I like needed to do or what I was supposed to be doing. And so for me, it was turning to video games. And I guess historically, I'd always played games on PlayStation. And when I said always, it's like not really that much. Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, kind of the basic RPG games. So it was really new to PC streaming. And I started with Portal, and I decided if I'm going to be playing games for the first time and experiencing games that are kind of like part of the really integral canon of the video game community, why not have people do it with me? So similar to SK, I knew someone who was a streamer. It looked really fun. I started looking into the Twitch thing and saw a couple streamers, and I was like, I could probably do that. I think I could talk to myself and be okay with that while I play a game. So I played Portal as my first game and streamed to an empty room, and then people kind of came in and then they never left. And I still know people who were some of my first followers. One of my mods who comes in like once a month or so, he found me when I was playing Portal, and he's still a mod. So kind of grew from there. I met some people, this really great Scottish streamer, Magnetron, who now is on Beam / whatever it's called now. He was a streamer that I followed a lot, and he helped me get a lot of my software set up. That was incredible. Having people like him so willing to help new streamers get their gear and their settings and their bots and all the things that go into streaming set up for the first time, and being super supportive, and then having followers come in and like you for who you are. It's basically never stopped being amazing. So yeah, that's kind of my story. Yeah.
That's lovely. Katie?
Let me see. I went to Comic-Con 3 years ago, and I met Aaron Blair. I don't know if anybody knows who he is. He does
from Conan O'Brien.
Conan O'Brien. He does Clueless Gamer.
Yeah.
So I met him, and we just kind of talked a little bit, and then I followed him on Twitter, and I saw him streaming Alien Isolation on Twitch, and I was like, what's Twitch? So I went onto Twitch to watch him, and I was like hooked because I was like, this is fun. This is like a scary game, and he's like getting stressed out and he's raging a little bit. It was just a lot of fun to watch. And so I just kind of found Twitch that way. And then slowly I started like looking at different games and branching out and seeing what other people were playing and doing. And then there was just one day where I was like, oh, well, I have a PlayStation. I have a PlayStation Cam. I have Grand Theft Auto 5. That was the first Grand Theft game I've ever played. And I was like, why not try streaming it? And so I was just sitting on my couch with this crappy camera. And I don't know, I remember being super stressed out when the first person came in and said something because I was so nervous. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, it was just kind of like little things fell into place. And then all of a sudden I was like on Twitch. And I've met some really cool people. And yeah, I've known like Tom's in chat. I've known him for like 2 years now. So it's just kind of crazy. Like, how things kind of fall into place and you get where you are now. But I guess it's not super fancy how I got onto Twitch, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's how I got here.
I'm gonna get more meta for a moment, and you guys might be noticing some audio issues in chat. So I'm gonna go right into the meta about some of the stuff we're doing while this is going on, because this is the multitasking that streamers do. So Acorn and I are whispering each other right now because, and Katie, I think you're having the same audio issue that Acorn is.
Did you also send Acorn one? I was like, Acorn,
yes.
But I don't think it's just Acorn. I think it's Zoom.
I think it's everyone.
Is it everybody?
It's Zoom.
So it was doing it for Katie, for me too. I think it's Zoom trying to.
But I'm not noticing it for you, SK.
That's because I'm perfect. So.
Oh, okay. and I don't think it's happening with me, but I can't tell.
We can switch to Discord real quick.
It'll off sync our voice in our video, which is one of the reasons I use Zoom a lot. But I think there's individual settings for every person where you
I was actually, if you want,
like
I'll
Skype.
look for the settings for. I'll figure it out.
That'd be great. I feel like I should maybe answer the question too.
Yes.
So I think I came to Twitch in a very different way, and I've talked to SK and Acorn about this. So we used to have like weekly meetings of different streamers where we would all get together on like Sunday mornings and kind of like chat with each other and stuff. So SK and Acorn and I know each other very, very well from all that. So Katie's like the new one to the group, but fits right in. So one of the things that I had mentioned there before is that I came to Twitch from kind of a business perspective. I wasn't looking at it as just something fun to do. I mean, it looked fun, don't get me wrong. But when I looked at Twitch originally, I was already like 6 years into doing my podcast. And I was like, oh, that's another digital outlet that I can build an audience on. And maybe they'll listen to my podcast. Like, I was not Twitch focused. I want them to listen to the other thing that I do. So if I go here, maybe they'll get over there, because I try promoting in the physical space a lot, but the physical to digital conversion is very poor. So like if you hand someone a card that says, here's the web address to go check out my podcast, they'll never go because they have to type that in. Whereas if they were part of a community and they just have to click something, then maybe they would. And now Twitch has completely taken over the podcast. Like, I haven't put out a podcast episode in like 2 or 3 months at this point.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's been a while since like Wonder Woman came out. That was like the last one. But Twitch has been like surprisingly wonderful for me. Like I said, I didn't plan on it being like a place where I would like meet friends that I interact with on a daily basis, who like I generally get along with better than some of my IRL friends. So it's like, it's crazy. It blindsided me completely, and I'm very, very glad that it did. So I guess kind of transitioning off of that. So we all came in somewhat, some people came in similar ways, some people very different. At what point into streaming did it occur to you, like, I still love this and I still want it to be fun, but I kind of want to take it to the next level? Because I feel like there's a point for everybody where you kind of have to make that decision. We're like, okay, my community is growing And I'm either going to need to take things more seriously, or I'm going to start to lose control of it because it's going over here. Does anyone have an answer for that right away?
I do, if no one else does.
Go right ahead.
I might be backwards than a lot of people. I actually went into it kind of seriously. Like after the first couple months of streaming, I was like all gung ho. I was looking at other streamers, seeing what they were doing. I did let's see, 16, 15, I think 2015. One of the first Halloweens I had after I started streaming, I like did a 12-hour stream because that's what you do. It's like, oh yeah, special event. It's going to be big. It's going to be great. We're going to do community games. Like I'm going to decorate my room. I'm going to have a costume. Like I went all out because I saw all these other people doing it. And in a lot of ways, I approach streaming like that, like doing it the right way because that's how everyone else does it. So after a while, it just became comfy and I stopped trying so hard and it just became casual. And only recently, the last like couple months or so, I've been taking it seriously and looking more at like the business side of it and trying to make good decisions and trying to like make it work, not be so casual anymore. But it's been a weird sandwich of effort and focus, I guess, for me. Yeah.
I understand that completely. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Can I get the question again? I actually think I have your solution solved for the audio.
Oh, sweet.
I was nerding out, but I did miss your question, so I apologize.
Meanwhile, on Google.
No. Come on, please. I am Google. Let's be real. But I think honestly, I sent it to Rob and Acorn in your Discord DMs, and Katie, I can't message you because you hate me, obviously.
No, I don't.
Katie blocks all Discord messages.
She blocks all Discord messages. I can't send it to you, but
I have a workaround. Hold on.
Okay. The question was basically like, at what point did you feel like your community was getting to a point that you were like, okay, this is fun, it's still fun, but I need to amp this up and kind of take it a little more seriously than I have been. Like, it's not just a casual thing. Like, I still go on and use it. I know you use it a lot to unwind and relax and all that, but also be like, okay, I need to get my shit together and get organized because this community is going to kind of overrun me if I don't.
That's interesting because like it honestly wasn't up until like the last month or 2 or 3 or so, because for me, like I've always just kind of been like, hey, let's have fun. And even still for me, like, you know, to me, when I think about streaming, I may have slightly different ambitions and maybe not, but I think of Twitch as like a community for me, and I like growing a community. And I think I've said this on stream a couple times. It's not so much about ever getting partnered. It's not so much about any of those style of goals. It's that I like the idea of having the coolest group of cats out there on Twitch, all of us just hanging out, playing games with each other, you know, just enjoying each other, loving on each other. Because to me, in my personal philosophies and where they intermix, it's that I just want to have a great group of people around me as I go through this thing we call life, you know? So it'd be cool to be partnered, and it'd be cool to drive and push the pedal to the gas. And lately the last month or two, I've said, okay, let me take it a little more seriously. Let's see how big we can do it, because that'll help meet those goals. But for me, it's like, how awesome can we make this community? Like, and that's really the pedal to the metal. It's like, what are the ways we can make the community better? And in that sense, in the last couple of months, Acorn and myself, who've been working together with like Discord and other things, have said, okay, let's make sure we keep the community focused stuff doing. We've been doing the community nights and stuff like that. So that's sort of more of the pedal to the metal than, hey, let's make sure we polish up everything. But in that sense, yeah, there's some pedal, and that's been only a recent development, you know, after all this time. Finally, like, okay, let's do something.
And Katie, how about you?
I think I would mirror what SK is saying. Is like, to me, it's always been about community and having like a positive environment on Twitch. Because I've been in some chats and I'm just like, whoa, like I want it to be welcoming, and I want people to be able to be themselves and hang out and just be like, oh, we're like a little family. We're getting together, watching me play games or just talking. And I feel like there was a point where I was like, I need to take this more seriously, but I didn't want to take it so seriously that I started to hate it. So there is a point where like there was times where I was like, oh, I need to get partner. And then in like the back of my head, I was like, but that's not really what I want. What I want is to have a positive place to go to. Cause I do like a number crunching during the day for my day job. It's not fun. It's just kind of like, it's just business. And like, this is a creative thing that I can do. And I can turn my camera on and hang out with amazing people and it's like a highlight of the week instead of being like I gotta grind.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I like focusing on community maybe more so than numbers. But yeah, I guess that's kind of like, I would just mirror what SK is saying pretty much.
I definitely came in business minded, like I said. So I was right to the grind right away. And I mean, that hasn't necessarily changed. But I always feel like when I explain this, I sound like an asshole. Like I always feel like, oh yeah, I'm just here to make money and grow my community. And I feel like a jerk saying it like that. And it's not really what I mean. It's more like, and a lot of creatives will admit this, even if it's not the way that they say it right away, I think, is the reason that creative people want to make money off the things they're doing is because they want to create more. So like the only reason that I am putting a business side into everything that I do is because I want to do this all the time. Like I don't want to do my day job anymore. I would much rather be here making things, which anybody knows that has to pay bills, you can't do unless you have the funds to do that. So my kind of like push to take everything more seriously, and I feel like maybe in the last like 6 months or so, since kind of redirecting where my channel's going, that's kind of been what's been working and what's been happening.
And I think you worry about that a little too much. Like you are approaching it from a different perspective, vocally. But I think we all understand that, right? Especially if you want to do something you love. I think I say it all the time, right? Like I would love to not have to work the job I work. I mean, I don't mind my job, but I wish I could take something smaller if I could afford it, but I can't. So if I was in a position where I needed it to be a part of my income, then I could totally see, hey, I got to make sure I'm business focused on this, and that makes sense. I think we all can relate to that, because doing something like this, being creative, producing content is a passion for a lot of people, and passion doesn't pay the bills. So I think we understand that. It is a piece of it.
I don't know if I always phrase it properly, but I just feel weird like saying it that
bring
way.
Me in, I'll hype it up for you. And I'll just like, listen, what Rob really meant was
SK is my human translator. Like I am Robot filtered through SK. This is what I mean. Yeah. I feel like it's a Keenan and Peele, or no, not Keenan and Peele. I'm mixing up comedy and duos.
Keenan and Kel,
10 years apart.
Wow. No, it's like it's the Obama translator bit. I just need SK in the corner. Like, wow, that was a huge brain fart. Some of these questions we've answered already. I'm like looking at them a little bit. But one of them is kind of one that I had for you guys already, which is, what do you enjoy most about streaming?
I
love letting it hang there, and everyone be like, because I've already asked the question, so I don't have to worry about it.
Okay,
I'll just sit back.
We've learned that today.
I love hanging out with the people I've met. Like that's part of it. Like I'll have a crappy day, and I'll even have days where I'm like, I don't want to stream, and then I'll hit the start button, and like everybody will show up, and it like immediately changes my mood. So I do feel like that's something I really love. And I also love the creative side. I do all my own graphics and overlays, and just being able to like have that energy and like focus it on that. I enjoy that aspect of it too, even though it's very time consuming, but it's something that I'm glad I have an outlet for.
They're so nice. They're so nice.
Acorn, what's your favorite part?
It's going to sound really hippie, but making people happy.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I like that.
What a nerd.
Yeah, happiness.
I have a really weird balance. I am such a tryhard in so many ways. I want to do good at things. So Dark Souls was the game I streamed today, and Dark Souls is the perfect example. I went into Dark Souls because one of my mods, Doggy Food, told me that I should play it because he wanted to see me get wrecked like everyone else. So I started playing it, and it frustrated me, but the frustration channeled into like a desire to get better. So I've spent like an entire game and a half of Dark Souls trying to be better at the game, and I do that for everything. So it's that plus wanting to make people happy. And so people being happy to be in my chat or to hang out or like to see me be a goofball or whatever, like that kind of, it channels back into my desire to stream. Yeah.
SK?
Oh man, so I'm gonna harp back on community, but I'm gonna try to like maybe explain a little bit without getting too, I try not to get emotional or anything over here. But
Please
like
do.
for me,
it's really good for ratings if you cry.
Ratings just here.
Thanks.
All right,
Thanks.
hold on. Let me cut some onions. No, but really, for me, it's community, and like Acorn said, I'm kind of a hippie too, like she is, and it's about making people happy. But for me, it's community, and I think I've told this story before at random times. I think I told it on your podcast a little bit. Podcast together, but for me, I have never. I was kind of a mixed matched kid when it came to the things I was into, the people I were around to, always growing up, and I never felt, because I had such a wide variety of things and experiences, I never felt like I belonged anywhere. I didn't feel like I was a part of this group or that group. I was kind of this mixed match group. Even in like the people like that I hung out with in high school, they were all a bunch of people like me, where we didn't quite like. Some of us were athletes, but some of us were. We didn't really have like a.
I relate to that so hard.
I was the captain of the chess club, but also captain of the high school football team. So I like those two things are so in contrast to each other in a lot of people's minds. But I didn't really have like a home or a place I felt like I belonged most of my life. And then Twitch kind of really gave that to me. And so for me, what I like most is coming here and building a community, because I finally feel like I found somewhere I belong with people like me. And so to me, encouraging that growth of other people who feel like they don't have a home, or they don't always, they're a little introverted and they don't feel like they have a place to belong, they can, come in, like belong with us. Like we can all be happy together. To me, that's what matters, because I get a personal sense of belonging hanging out with these guys, as well as you guys, who I identify with. This group of streamers that I'm hanging out with right now are like, I don't want to say handpicked because I didn't pick them, but they're people that like I really relate to and I associate with. I think they're all wonderful people, and I feel that with the community too. So that's kind of for me what's important and why I do it, and why I can do it even on the days when I don't feel like doing it. It's that passion and that growth for all of us. So
yeah, for me it's a little bit of it's being able to share my passions is a big part of it. And it goes kind of back to the same reason that I started my podcast. It's because, and like Howard Stern is one of my heroes, and he said this before, and I very much relate to it. And he said that he does his show a lot for the person stuck in the commute, going from point A to point B, that's like probably miserable and just wants to like laugh. So like to be able to be a person that can make content that I hope will take someone's mind off of whatever it is that's bothering them, whether it be something kind of pre-done like a podcast, or something that is live where you can actually interact with that person and take their mind off whatever is bugging them at the time, and give them kind of like a positive distraction. I love being able to do that. So that's a big part of it for me. What is oh wow. What is your worst or most memorable moment on stream? It says worst / most memorable. I don't know if worst means like epic fail, or if it means like this was just an awful stream, or because I've had bad streams where I hit that stop button. I'm like, what? Like, why do I feel worse now than I did when I started?
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, that is.
I can't pinpoint a moment where like something so bad happened that I couldn't handle it. I'm trying to, usually if something gets under my skin, I try to like stifle it down and deal with it after stream. But usually it's just like troll comments and stuff. It's not usually anything like world altering.
Now that's something I feel like I'm never fully going to understand, not being a female, because I know I've seen the comments that get directed at female streamers. And I mean, I've had troll comments here and there, but nothing like the level that I see in female streamers chats.
Yeah. I've had some pretty interesting and outlandish things whispered to me when I was in the middle of stream.
Yeah.
And also comments in chat. But I feel like, I mean, I don't think anyone in our immediate group has had like the really bad things happen, like 4chan raiding you, or like or like the SWAT showing up at your door. Like that's really insane stuff that sometimes happens to big streamers. So like nothing like that, but I think for me, I get anxiety about, again, not doing a good job. So like when I can't figure something out, like I'll have technical difficulties, which happens often in my stream. Like I'm just going to be forgive, like it's a thing in my channel.
When you're opening Overwatch loot boxes, that's the best stuff. That's the
everything. And living in Florida, we get a lot of power surges out of nowhere. So like I've tried to fix things like that. I got like one of those battery backup strip plugs that like started shrieking and beeping during stream like 3 times. I was trying to do a co-op with SK. It was awful. But like, I think really that's kind of, I would say technical difficulties, and then also just not really feeling it. Sometimes when I just can't get out of my head. I actually kind of envy what you said, Katie, going live, like changing your mood and making you feel better. Sometimes it does for me, but sometimes I'm really critical of myself. And if I don't feel like I'm being entertaining enough, if I don't feel like I can like convey my thoughts, if I'm stumbling over my words or not doing a good job with the game or whatever, I'll like get really kind of down on myself for that, which I probably shouldn't, because I'm doing this for like fun. But yeah, I don't know if that really answers the question, but those are the things that come to mind to me, because I don't have like a specific stream or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I have a specific moment either. It's more just like, oh, like I've heard and stand-ups say this all the time too, and I know it from doing stand-up, is that stand-ups always say the worst thing you can ever do is have a great set, because that means there's only downhill. So like your next set is, if it doesn't go as well as the one that just happened, then your mood might get affected by that. And I don't know, again, that's another thing I'm not sure if viewers necessarily know, is how much we put pressure on ourselves to try and like not only be there when we say we're going to be there, but also like the guilt that ensues if we feel like we didn't show up or we didn't deliver or anything like that. Their streamer guilt is so real.
It's very
oh my God,
painful sometimes.
It's horrible. It doesn't matter, you know. It's like, oh, I'm doing this thing for fun that, you know, I'm not like necessarily charging anyone for, but I just like, if I miss it, I feel so bad about it. Like I've like put so much pressure on myself. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's anxiety. I mean, I deal with anxiety as well. There's a lot of things I think I've said it before. Again, maybe on I know we talked about anxiety on your podcast, but like going live sometimes is the hardest thing for me. I'll sit there if I'm having like a bout of anxiety, and I will hover over that button like, I gotta push it, and like I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna push it today, but it can be rough. But I'm like with everybody else. I don't think I've ever had a horrible one. I've had some good, memorable, positive moments. I think we have the fortune, I know Katie's more recent to our community per se, but we have the fortune of having a really good set of community, and typically don't have to deal with a lot of BS. And when it does come, it sort of gets shunned right out, banned.
Yes.
Bad. So
I think that's one of the things I'm most thankful for, is the type of people that we're surrounded by. Like, again, what Katie said earlier, where you walk into or join chats when you join some chats and you're letting it scroll and just like, the things people are saying, the way they're acting. And then others you go into, like one of the partnered streamer examples I can think of is General Mittens. His community is so positive because his whole channel is about like combating stress and anxiety and the things that debilitate you. And so people go there and it's a safe place and they feel comfortable talking about their problems and being supported by people. And I feel like in a lot of ways, the community that we have, all of us, even separately and mixed, is very much like that. Just real people appreciating other real people and kind of like just protecting and supporting each other. So when certain people come in and they don't fit or they are saying negative things, like they are kind of booted out. Yeah. Very thankful for that.
My mods are really good at getting that stuff right away, because my community, we don't like to put up with like negative or like sexism or racism and homophobia. They just kind of knock it out before it even becomes a problem. And I think that it helps when you have a good team behind you too, because there is the streamer, but having people in chat who also help you maintain that community and positive feel. I think it makes a huge difference, like finding those right people to fit.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I feel like in the same like vein of creating positive communities, I see how valuable that is because I see it in a lot of, like you said, Acorn, it's in a lot of our shared communities. I feel like I kind of leech off that positivity because I am by nature, like I have to forcibly be positive. I am not by nature a positive person. I'm a little bit of a grump. I'm a little bit of a grump, and I feel like, and it's one of the reasons like I get so drained by streaming sometimes is I feel like I am faking it till I make it, and I'm not like that's the phrase, but I'm not faking it. I'm trying to be a more positive person all the time, but that requires energy. So I know the benefits of everyone's like Rob Grumpy never. No, I'm a big grump. And I know this and it's okay. And I've accepted this, but I'm working on it and I will get there someday. But I feel like this is kind of helping me too at the same time, not only by being in like trying to do that with my own self and community, but also being around all these other communities is just like the people you surround yourself with, you just become more like. It's just human nature. So I feel like I'm just leeching off everybody's positivity to help myself a little bit.
And then Silly Rob is one of the best things to play games with.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
It happens sometimes.
Get you out of your grump zone. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's true. These questions are so good that are still coming in. What do you do if you're sick? Do you still stream?
Guilt.
Yeah.
Guilt.
Yeah.
I definitely have.
Yeah, I have too. I've been like deathbed and I've streamed and I die after. I think it's hard to balance that because then I feel guilty because I'm just like laying on the couch and I'm like, I could be streaming and I'm letting people down. But someone told me once, like, your community, if they're there for the right reasons, will understand that you're sick and they'll be like, all right, you need to rest. And if there are people who are going to give you crap about it, it's probably the wrong kind of person who doesn't have like sympathy for the fact that you are a real person, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm the same way. Most of the time, for me, I try not to, like, I have certain days, I used to stream all the time, but I have certain days off. And what I do is I just typically, unless it's like a continued sickness, I just shuffle my days around. I say, guys, you know, like today was supposed to be a stream day, but tomorrow's an off. I'll do stream tomorrow and we'll take, you know, so I flip flop. I try not to, but I'll flip flop. So. Yeah.
I've taken a lot of hiatuses this year. So I feel like the question doesn't really apply to me in like examples, but yeah, flipping around your schedule. I've never had a set schedule. So I think for me, it's always been like a, hey, I can't do it today, so I'll do it tomorrow or later or whatever. Or sometimes the alternative, which is really great in community-based channels like ours, is, hey guys, let's not do a stream tonight. Let's do like a Rabbit movie or something. Let's go watch a movie together on Rabbit, or let's just do like a gaming night off stream where we go join like one of our shared servers and go play 7 days or something like that. So I think in a lot of ways, there's some like good alternatives, I guess, if something like that happens.
I actually had a really great stream early on. But when I started streaming, I legit was just playing Quiplash and Choice Chamber because that's what I saw people were getting like followers built off of. And it actually like worked. Like within the first like 2 weeks, I was already up to 300 followers. Like it was very, very rapid growth that way. But I, being a teacher and a podcaster and talking all the time, I got laryngitis one time, and I was like, I should still stream. So I had a command in chat for just said, Rob can't talk today. So feel free to talk to him, but he can't talk back. And I kind of liked the creative challenge of it, where I was like miming responses and just being like silent Rob for a day. And it was actually really fun, even though I couldn't talk. So
that's very creative.
I mean, you can't do that with every possible thing, because sometimes you just feel like death and don't want to be on stream at all. But sometimes it's just a creative opportunity. Let's see. I have questions too still, but there's so many good questions coming in at the same time as well. We talked a little bit about the stream work life balance. A couple people have brought it up in different ways. I know personally for me, I've kind of like started setting a schedule lately, and I'm streaming less than I used to, because I used to always think like, oh, you got to go 3 or 4 hours every stream minimum if you're going to bother doing it, and it was kind of destroying me really quick. But I've quickly shifted over to quality over quantity and tried to make my streams more things that I think are better content, at least from what I can do, versus I'm going to do something for 5 hours that I might not be as good at, when I could do something like for 2 hours that I'm really good at, I think. How have you guys kind of managed your balance there?
Yeah. Actually, I kind of agree with that. So that was a self-discovery for me as well. Like, I used to stream 7 days a week almost when I first started, and I stream hours and hours and hours because I wasn't doing anything. So I was like, well, why not? You know, I might as well. And the problem with that is you can do that for a while, but then you start to burn out with the whole work-life balance. And then so I went through this period where I was like, I streamed a little less, but I would still do long streams. And I finally realized it was still burning me out. And so I looked at it and I was like, you know, being tired is making my stream content like very lackluster. Like, I'm very low energy. It's not great. And that's really what the issue is here. It's not me streaming less. It's not me doing this. It's this. And so I tried to focus more on, okay, let me stream with energy a good stream of 3 hours instead of a low energy 6 hour stream, because it's going to be more productive for numbers. It's going to be more productive for growth, and it's going to be more entertaining for everyone. And that seems to work out a lot better. I even will do that sometimes. Like we talked about sick. I mean, I still feel the guilt, but some days if I want to swap a day, I'll be like, guys, I'm not going to have a good day today if I stream. My energy is super low. I had a long day at work, and tomorrow will be a better day. And then I try to come tomorrow and I plan my day out and make sure it's a nice, energetic, happy, fun day. So I think that I found came to the same kind of conclusion, you know, dial it back. You don't have to, you know, quantity is not where it's at. It's definitely quality when it comes to streaming and hanging out, because you got to have your energy up, especially like for me, I work, you know, 9 to 5, that type of life. So I come home, I have to basically go home, you know, work, then home, stream. So not a lot of downtime there. So I have to have my energy up best I can.
It's the ocean spray. Keeps you going.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I work full time and I do 410s Monday through Thursday. And those are long days. And then Fridays I stream. And if I don't take Saturdays off, I am like, you do get burnt out. I used to stream a lot more, and I agree. It's quality over quantity, because I had streamer friends who would stream 7 days a week, and you could tell how tired they were, and they were just so exhausted. And when I would stream more, I'd be exhausted, and I just could tell my content wasn't as good. And so if I do a longer stream, it's because it's organically happening, not because I've planned it. Because I find if I'm going to be like, oh, I'm streaming for 6 hours this day, by like the 6th hour, I'm just like dragging. So if I'm enjoying a game and like we're hanging out and having a good time and it goes to 6 hours, like that's so different than if you're like forcing yourself to do it. So I only stream 3 days a week, and I always feel guilty like I should do more, but it's what works best for my work schedule, and so that I can have some downtime, so I don't show up with like giant bags under my eyes and just like falling asleep on stream. So yeah, I would just second both of what you guys said, because yeah. Wow, Tom.
I've actually found it really nice to set a schedule, because it's alleviated a little bit of my guilt to be like, when I didn't have a schedule, anytime I had downtime, I was like, oh, I should probably stream. And then I got worn out real fast because I was just streaming anytime the opportunity arose, instead of being like, okay, this is recharge time. Recharge time is basically scheduled, and then my actual streams are scheduled. So it's kind of more so than made me consistent. It's limited me in the sense that I'm not doing more than I know I can handle, which has kind of been nice lately.
Yeah. Yeah, structuring and scheduling is huge. Kind of like doing it in chat just said, also you need to eat, exercise, take care of yourself and your life outside of streaming too.
As we all rush through dinner to get on stream tonight,
yeah, we
by
did.
the way.
Shoveling food in our faces.
Yeah, no, balance is huge. I personally work part-time, but my schedule is literally wide open. So I can work as early as 8 or as late as 10, any day of the week. So for me, I can't have a set schedule, which really sucks. Except recently I've kind of taken a different approach to it where I'll look ahead and like map out my week, but do so mindfully. Like you guys were saying, like I'll have a to-do list of things I'm going to focus on. And so I won't think, okay, I have to stream 5 hours to make it worth it. And then I'm going to like be distracted all the way up until stream. Like I'll still give myself a chance to like have a day, do my thing, take care of errands or the stuff on my to-do list or go to work and then come back. So it's, a lot of mindfulness goes into it, I think, because otherwise, yeah, you rush and you stream when you shouldn't, or you'll stream too long, or you'll force yourself to stream, or you'll feel like you're wasting time because you're not streaming. All of those scenarios. But if you kind of like give yourself parameters, it helps a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a great question that I feel like could take up the remainder of the time, but I'm sure we can come up with succinct answers. How much work do you put into stream and community off stream? Probably more than we're on stream, honestly. If I were to, at least for me, I do a lot of stuff that has heavy production. And even something as simple as booking guests. I mean, this was super easy to put together because I know all you guys and you're all amazing. But like for doing like heavy production stuff, yeah, a lot of stuff happens off stream.
Yeah.
To the point where, and we were talking about this, we were talking a little bit about this before we even came on tonight. Like SK and Acorn have a community manager that they share now. And I recently, within the last month, have a community manager that came on board as well. And that has made things incredibly easier for me. That's for sure.
I could definitely use that help because it's a lot. Like social media is just constant. Like if it's Instagram or it's Twitter or it's Discord, I constantly feel like, oh no, I'm not responding fast enough. So like it is tough to find a balance with that. But it is nice though to be connected with everybody and like that they want to talk to me and they want to have that relationship. And I think that's been really neat because I don't know, like I grew up when I was a kid, I was homeschooled. So like I was very isolated with my sister. So then like when I got on here, I was like, oh, people want to hang out and like talk to me. Like I'm not a weirdo. So it was nice. Well, okay. Debatable, but
crazy here.
Yeah.
So, Katie, am I hearing that you need a community manager?
Yes.
I'd like to announce my retirement effective.
No, but I like your stream.
No, I'm just I like all these guys so much. They're wonderful.
But maybe somebody in chat is listening. I don't know.
That's true.
I don't know.
That's true.
Yeah, Snapchat's the one thing I don't check very frequently. I check it like once a day, but
that was something I really struggled with myself. So my job, even though being part-time, like I worked full-time for I think 2 years, and during that time I was really active streaming. So I think that's when I really burned out, and it took me a long time to get back into the swing of things. And for me, a lot of that balance came from just saying no to things. Like I shut down my Discord, my personal Discord, when SK and I started working more together. And so I joined his, which is now ours, kind of merged everything. So that's been huge for me because a lot of my, the pressure for me came from going into work, putting my phone in my pocket and working very physical because I work in inventory. So it's a lot of moving, a lot of walking, a lot of lifting and shipping and receiving and all of that stuff. So I would go into work and I would feel like I come out the other end from like a black hole, and I'd be like, what did I miss? And I'm just like scrolling through like notifications on my home screen. And there's been entire conversations that happened in my Discord or didn't happen in my Discord because I wasn't there to like help them along. And it just weighed on me way too much. So I eventually closed my Discord, and now I have, thank God, because of SK, the community that's the community that he has the time to cultivate, and then I can come in and feel comfortable and not feel like I'm not being there as the streamer trying to get things to like move along. And so I can focus on other things like at least Twitter or Instagram or whatever else, or even just like streaming, because like that's the most important thing. When you're a streamer, you have to stream, not spend all your your streaming time on Discord, which sometimes I felt like doing instead. Cause it's like, okay, I'm engaging, I'm like spending time with people, but I'm actually on camera. So, the balance for me is a little weird. I feel like I'm a lot more comfortable with it now because of those things I said no to. Over promising is a thing so much with your schedule, with what you say you're going to do, what you would love to do, because that's the thing about streaming. Like you get excited with your viewers. You guys, you come up with these great ideas and it's like, that sounds fantastic. Let's do that. I would love to do that. And then you get off stream and then life kind of kicks in and you're tired and you go to work and whatever. And it's like, oh, I did say I was going to do that. Well, now I'm exhausted, or now I had this thing that came up, or I have to take my car into the shop, or my family's coming over, or like whatever. And it's like, you just kind of get caught up. So yeah.
Absolutely. Totally agree with all that.
In that vein, and talking about community managers and things like that, for people that might be in chat that have like aspiring goals of not necessarily being a streamer themselves, but being more involved in a community, what do you each look for when you are selecting either your community managers or your moderators or anything like that, the people that are kind of going to be the leads of your community and the enforcers and things like that? What kind of traits or people in chat do you look for?
To me, it's well, they're two different things for me. Like I don't look for the same thing in a community manager as I do in a moderator, right?
Agreed.
So I have some people who make really great moderators, and it's not a slight to say they would make a good community manager, because it's just a different set of skills and it's a different type of people. So like Sophie, who is our community manager, she is really good at it because she, first of all, is a streamer and she understands how streaming works. She understands the pressures of streaming. She understands the time of streaming. She gets kind of the inner workings of it all. And so I think for a community manager, it needs to be somebody, at least in my personal opinion, someone who understands what it takes to be a streamer so that they can supplement you. Now, to be fair, every streamer is different, and every community manager will need to be different for that streamer. For instance, I saw Captain here tonight. We talked about Captain. He that what he does as a community manager versus what Sophie does or what Todd does is different because of who they service, right? Like Todd needs to do different things for you, whereas Sophie needs to do different things for me, and even different things for Acorn. Like, right? Like Sophie doesn't even need to work this. We're like kind of a group, but she doesn't even work the same for Acorn as she does for me.
Overworked Sophie has to adapt to two different streamers.
Oh, poor thing. But she does really well. So the thing is, and we're relatively similar, so that helps out too. So our mindsets are kind of in line, so that helps out a lot. But I think when it comes to community manager, it needs to be somebody who understands Twitch and can understand how to support you as a streamer and what it takes to make your product better. Now, as a moderator, I look for a level head. I look for someone who can be calm and passive in any situation. There's nothing wrong with getting excited and having energy and doing things, but I want somebody who at the end of the day knows what's best for the stream, will ban if they need to, can settle disputes, can be calm, can be relaxed, and will have our back with anything that goes on in the community. If someone is making the community look bad, they'll step up and say, hey, we're doing this wrong, or we're not following kind of where SK wants to go with this. So typically it's more of a passive, level-headed person who can, in the end, will have our backs,
Katie, what do you look for?
Since I don't have a community manager, I can't answer that, but I can answer for moderators. I look for somebody who's welcoming, like in that is active in chat, obviously, but like SK said, someone who's level-headed, who's okay with banning, who can spot the stuff really quickly that is toxic. And I feel like somebody who you can trust, because I do feel like there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes in streaming sometimes. And to have some people that you can bounce ideas off of and ask questions of, I think that's really important for having moderators, and just having, it's more of like a I don't know, it's kind of like having they're not my henchmen, but they're like little henchmen behind me who help me with lots of different things, not just moderating. Mm-hmm. They're there to keep chat like clean and happy and all that kind of stuff. But they help me, like if I send them a picture, I'm like, does this look okay? And they'll be honest with me and say, no, that looks like crap. You need to redo it. But so I think just having someone you vibe with, but also people who know how Twitch works and also can provide, I don't know, like I've been very fortunate with my mods, and it's worked out really well. But I do feel like the trust thing is a huge part of it.
Huge part of it.
Yeah. Like
tremendously huge. Mm-hmm. When I decided that I wanted a community manager, I got insanely lucky. Because I mean, I said this before, I think on stream when I welcomed her to the community, is I was super bummed when Tadriel stopped streaming because I enjoy watching her. But at the same time, I was like, oh my God, if she wanted to be a community manager, she's absolutely perfect for it. So when I approached her, she was like so down for it, and kind of was like, oh, that's exactly what I want to do anyway. I don't want to stream anymore. I just want to do something like that. So the timing worked out so well. And like you said, it's got to be somebody that you vibe with personality wise, and also feel like you can be completely honest with. Mm-hmm. And you do hand over the reins in a way, sometimes forcibly. You do hand over the reins in a lot of things, and kind of give that person access to mm-hmm. this thing that you've been building, and it's scary. So you need to find someone you really trust.
Yeah. And I mean, I'd be willing to say I've made some mistakes with some moderators, and I've just used them as learning experiences. Mm-hmm. And you just kind of go, okay, now I know what to look for next time. Mm.
There are times I feel like people decide they need to unmod people, and it's not like, I don't know. I always like worry if people are going to take it personally, mm-hmm. or if like I've unmodded people before, and sometimes it's just funny. But other times it's like you don't want them to take it personally, but at the same time, maybe you're just kind of shifting direction creatively. And things just don't line up the same way they did. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Those are the little anxieties of streaming.
Well, yeah, because that's happened. Like I was a mod for another streamer, and mm-hmm. he decided he creatively wanted to go. He had a lot of mods. Mm. So he sent me a message. He's like, I'm just letting you know I'm unmodding you. And like you do like kind of take a little hit, like, oh, but at the same time, I'm like, I totally understand from a streaming perspective what he's trying to do. And I still hang out and I go say hi and stuff, and it's not weird. Like I think it depends on the person and whether they'll take it personally or not.
I'm looking at all these questions. So there's some tech stuff. I don't want to get into some tech talk. This is another thing I wanted to ask in general. Sorry, I feel like I just cut you off. This doesn't happen a lot on Twitch because there are kind of like rules of etiquette about being like, I'm a streamer too, but I would love to see how many people in chat, by like dropping like a PogChamp or something, are aspiring streamers, or like just getting started out, or like feel like they have lower numbers and would like to grow their channel. Like now's your time to be like, me, look at me.
So I actually, what you cut me off of is something I was
super similar.
It was, well, no. I was going to say that I would love to hear from some of these type of streamers asking questions, because there are questions that I could answer now, and I know we could answer now.
Yeah.
That I wish I could have asked myself.
Yes,
or
that's what I want to do.
I was a smaller streamer, so please feel free to ask questions about the process, issues you've had. Mm-hmm. You know, please, those are the kind of questions I'd actually love to answer, because I know when I started, I had no idea what I was doing, and I wish I had a big brother like patting me on the back, like, this is how you stream. Don't fret about this. Don't worry about mm-hmm. this. You know, you're gonna overthink this, skip that, you know, kind of thing. So, all
right, so let's talk chat for a moment then, because we already have some questions like that. One person said, noting the difference between streamers, different mic booms, covers, green screens, lighting. Is there any advice on good equipment to look at? Maybe spitball a simple dock for new streamers.
That'd be a dock would be kind of hard, but since it's a live thing. But
right.
For me, I'll just I'm gonna look around at some of my stuff. To me, one of the things it's nice. For instance, I think Katie has this issue too, if I'm correct. Right? Did we talk about the mic before?
Yes.
So the Yeti is nice for starting up. I would go a different direction.
100% agree.
If I had another chance, and one of the big reasons is that it's a USB mic, and now I can't even use the mixer that I have because it doesn't plug into that. So I'll eventually be upgrading. It's okay to start with something like that. It's an okay mic, but I do wish I'd have went in a different direction. Invested just a little bit more money. Lighting, I think, can be everything. Sometimes lighting. I went and used Amazon to get two honestly, I'm not a photographer, but I got two
I am.
boxes. I know box lights here. With,
and your lighting's better than mine, by the way.
I know, and I'm not a photographer, but I got two box they stand up. They're boxes, they're square, and they have like slip covers over them, like whatever. Diffuser. I think
soft boxes.
Soft boxes.
There you go.
Thank you. And they weren't that expensive. They weren't
it does diffuse
on Amazon, so you could pick things like that up. For me, I know a lot of people have portable green screens. Now, I live alone, so I have, and I don't care how this area looks. So I have a green screen that is put to the wall. So I actually took the green screen. I bought this for really cheap on Amazon. Didn't get a stand, and I have it just hung to the wall. Now that may not work if you have a significant other or you have someone who would care how your place looks. I'm me, so I don't care how my place looks. So I think you can actually get a pretty decent setup on a place like Amazon or something. Check out. I can drop some links sometime for things like that. I know Rob could probably do that too in his Discord or something. If anyone had any questions about stuff like that, equipment. It could even be a channel somewhere. Like, hey, streamer equipment. Just look at these links.
Also, a lot of people list their equipment. So if there's like a streamer and you like the way things look, or you like the way things sound, look below their channel because a lot of people list the exact equipment they use.
Yeah, I have one of those too. One of the things I would say when I first started streaming, I literally was on my couch. I had a Kinect or a PlayStation camera. There were no alerts. It was very
same.
like it was like, ugh. And so, but like now when you look at stuff, it's a lot more higher quality. But I had to work to get there. Like it took time to get the pieces. It's expensive, and it's something where my community is fantastic, and they have donated to me, which has helped me afford things like a camera or lights. And it takes time to get there. And I would recommend, if you're just trying it out and you're not sure yet, if you're into it, just sit on the couch with a camera, see if you like it, because then you're not investing so much in it.
Yes.
A good point.
Because it is something where I spent a very long time on the couch just with the Kinect on a stack of books. It was a stack of Harry Potter books, the Kinect on top. My dog would come knock it over sometimes during stream. So you just kind of just try it out if you have those things. And then I think just getting the pieces over time is how it happened for me. It wasn't all at once. So I would have some streams where I was on the computer and I'd have alerts, and then sometimes I was on the couch and there were no alerts, and that caused me a lot of anxiety. But yeah, I guess that's just my little bit of advice if somebody's just wanting to dip their toe in.
Yeah, do it first. And don't, this is something kind of across the board creatively. Don't ever wait until you feel like you have everything perfect, because you will never start if that's the mentality you go in with. Just do it, and you will be okay with knowing that your beginning stuff is going to suck and you're going to get better as you go along. You have to start somewhere, and starting is the hardest thing. Yeah. And if you don't start, you're not going to. So don't wait until you feel like you have everything perfect. Start now and then build from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw Captain say something about audio. Audio is probably a good thing to invest in. Audio, I don't know about you guys. This is a little bit of a tangent, but audio is one of the hardest things for me to settle.
It is.
Audio as a streamer is so frustrating. So if you could spend some time learning that and setting that up, because I still to this day do not feel like my audio is perfect. It is so hard.
Same.
Hello, is this right level, guys? I know what I'm doing.
I always ask what sounds good?
Yeah.
And I asked several times, but sadly, when I'm streaming on the couch, somehow the consoles get that audio just right for the game. And I used I had an Astro headset, and I would just use that for audio. And it always sounded really good. And now that I'm on the computer and I have a microphone and everything, it always sounds like crap. I'm always disappointed when I listen back later. But yeah, audio is tough.
I mean, I was fortunate that when I started streaming, I'd already been podcasting for years. So like I had a bunch of audio equipment already and a whole setup and things going on. So I had like, I feel like the hardest part covered. But for people that are looking for a mic, I don't know if this is the same one that Captain mentioned. I don't know if Squalls is still in chat, but I'm pretty sure she bought this. There is an Audio Technica mic that's not super expensive that has both a USB input and an XLR input. So if you want to start with that kind of a mic, and it's a nice mic, it's not crazy expensive. The audio quality is pretty good, but it does allow for growth. So SK was saying that he's kind of bummed that the Yeti doesn't upgrade to use with a mixer because it doesn't have an XLR output. But this Audio Technica mic does have both. So you can start off with USB, not have to worry about a mixer. And then when you're ready to get to that point, you don't have to buy another microphone. You can just add on the mixer and increase your setup that way. So check that out. And I can find, while people are talking about stuff, I'll look it up and put it in chat.
Good.
So out of the four of us, I'm probably the lowest tech person. So I'll speak for the people who aren't like audiophiles and really focused on quality. For the longest time, I just used the microphone that was built into my Logitech webcam. So I did go for the 600 series. I forget what it was, 610 or something like that. And so it's not the HD version, but it is one of the higher end versions that ended up being pretty good. And I still use them, and I feel like they're pretty decent quality. For me, the biggest challenge with my setup has been the OBS settings. So getting your bit rate and your frames per second, and even tweaking the color and saturation of your game capture and your cam. Recently, I really dug into it and spent some time getting that perfect, and I think it's made a huge difference. All I did was just tweaked a couple things, tested on an alternate account, playing a game, checking, stopping, changing, and that made a huge difference. I now use a Snowball mic, which was actually given to me by another streamer who upgraded to something better. Going from Logitech webcam mic, which was kind of crappy, and leveling my voice, especially when I shrieked, to this has been huge. And this month I actually added this desk, whatever you call this. Again, low tech, the frame thing, that the arm, there you go. The audio arm. This was like $10 on Amazon, and it was compatible with the Snowball. So it's nothing special. It's a little rickety, but it gets the job done. I like having it closer to my face because one of the biggest critiques that chat had was like the microphone was too far away, or you could hear too much of my typing but not enough of my voice. So having this arm has been a big upgrade for me, but again, it didn't have to be expensive. So I do definitely agree with what Rob said about starting from somewhere. Don't make it perfect, make it yours. Focus on your content, focus on your craft, your approach and everything, and worry about upgrading later. It'll come. Pieces, especially if you join the community while you stream, because you'll be making friends with other people who might have suggestions or can help you with things or give you reviews. Like my headset, this is the comfiest, best headset I've ever worn in my life, and SK had it before me and suggested it. So I okay, I trust your opinion, I'll get this. And it's been amazing, and I love it. I actually went through a couple headphones that didn't work out because I was just trying things out, but because I had a recommendation for a headset I never would have found otherwise, it made my gaming experience and my streaming experience so much better. So just give it time.
Sponsor me, HyperX. I swear I've sold this headset to like 12 people.
So many
I'm
people.
not even kidding.
Yeah,
but it's like the
same.
most comfortable pair of like headphones I've ever owned. So I didn't have any problems sharing. But that's the kind of thing, right? Like you try out, this isn't my first headset, and I had tried 3 or so before that. I didn't have any preferences until I found one that I was like, wow, this is comfortable wearing for however many hours of streaming. And so I shared that knowledge with other people, and certain people picked it up.
Meanwhile, I'm rocking earbuds, so like you don't have to spend any money.
Yes.
I have studio headsets that I use when I do my podcast like this, and I just wear earbuds when I'm streaming most of the time.
Yeah,
so.
I have an expensive pair of studio headphones that I do not use for this because it doesn't even. First of all, they're not that comfortable for like wearing for like 4 or 5 hours.
Same. That's the reason.
Yeah,
exactly. They're like really good quality, but they're not for streaming. So, but you find that kind of thing out.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got. What do you use for graphic creation and editing?
1 second, just to say quick thing on something Acorn said that I think is really important.
Absolutely.
I didn't know for a while. She mentioned streaming the bot channel. I highly recommend that, guys. There's nothing wrong with doing that. You grab yourself another account and play with your settings.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Get a second account, stream to it. I do it. And like Acorn says, she does it. You stream to that account, tweak your settings, pull it up on another monitor because it doesn't matter. Get that hammered out, and that way you don't have to stress about it. Because, for the longest time I wouldn't do that. And I just be like, my settings are kind of borked. And then I took the time to sit down and play with my settings, and I can up the channel quality, finding the right groove for everything.
Yeah. I have an alt account too to do that because I don't want to go live while I'm like tweaking everything.
Exactly.
I have like a secret account that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
Yes, Zach, grab another account to play with yourself, or settings. Exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
Graphic stuff. We all have to do it, whether we do it or whether we have people that do it for us. What do you guys use for software, for inspiration even?
Photoshop is my everything.
Same.
I love Photoshop. For a while though, I actually was using Pixlr.com on a laptop to create a lot of my stuff for like YouTube.
Bad. It's not bad.
Not. It's like fake Photoshop online. Some limitations, but it has all the basic functions and it gets the job done. So it doesn't have to be fancy. But I did spring for a Adobe Cloud, Creative Cloud account thing for just Photoshop because, like I said, I use it for everything, and I just decided to pay $10 a month just to get that and use it for everything. Sometimes actually I'll grab screenshots and use Paint to save them, and sometimes I'll like whip some things up in Paint, but usually it's Photoshop.
Juan, I don't know if that was a joke, Juan, saying no PowerPoint. I do use PowerPoint for some stuff. So anybody else?
I use lately I do have Creative Cloud now, so some Illustrator, I'm trying to get back into Illustrator, Photoshop, which I haven't touched in a while, and After Effects for doing video editing. I've been trying to get into the video editing as well. But actually, to be completely honest, where I'm comfortable is actually on a free product, Paint.net. If you guys have ever used it before, Paint.net is wonderful. It is like a Photoshop. It's Photoshop-like. It has filters. It has all kinds of things. I don't know if Paint.net is the right site, Rob, to be completely honest. Let me see.
You don't know if Paint.net is the right site? Somebody purge me, please.
It's I'll actually throw it in. It's somebody else has that website. It's this website right here. Sorry guys. It's I don't know if I'm gonna get purged for that, but it's getpaint.net.
I don't think you will. I think that's showing up.
There's a download. It's a crappy-ish kind of website. I've been using it for years though, and there's a lot of support out there for adding in additional. Basically has plugins, and it's got a huge community behind it, which you can download the plugins from. There's actually a big site which has like a forums for it that has like a compendium of all the best plugins. But even by default, it has a very Photoshop like most of the Photoshop filters exist in Paint.net. And I use it, and I'm very comfortable with it. It's easy to use, and even when I work in Photoshop, most of the time I find myself, I'm like, let me switch back over to Paint real quick because it's really easy for me to do certain things in Paint.net and then throw it over to Photoshop to do a couple other things or to turn it into a Photoshop project to share. So, but it's kind of like, it's kind of like GIMP too. GIMP is another free option. I just never really liked GIMP's user interface. I found that Paint.net had a similar user interface for me to Paint.net, at least when I first started. I don't know what GIMP looks like anymore. It's been a couple of years, but Paint.net, very, very, very useful. I highly recommend it for me.
I do media stuff professionally, so I had kind of all these programs already. But I do use Photoshop, Illustrator. I did this in Photoshop yesterday, this layout for what we're doing right now. And then just kind of like cutting out areas. If you guys want to know how we do this, we're using a few different things. So Photoshop is the layout. There's a transparent box where each of us are placed into, and I have a window capture going for every individual here from Zoom. We're using Zoom, which is a wonderful program for web conferencing. If you're doing one-on-one with Zoom, it is completely free for any length of time. If you are doing multiple people like this, you can go for 45 minutes for free in a spot. So if you really wanted to not spend money on it, you could do a 45-minute conference, be like, we'll be back in 5 minutes, stop the conference, start it again, and go for another 45. Or I know myself and SK both pay the monthly, which is not crazy. It's like
15, right?
$15.
It's like $14.99.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's 15
I just
bucks
dropped
a
the
month.
link in chat.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like $15 a month. And then I do all my video editing in between After Effects and Premiere.
Yeah. I had to ask Rob an After Effects question one night. I was like, Rob, I need to render this thing. It's taking like 20 hours. And he's like, well, why don't you just do this one thing with this one thing? And I'm like, oh, cool.
4 minutes
less
versus
than 5 minutes. Yeah, 4 minutes versus like 8 hours of rendering again. Thanks, Rob.
Yeah.
I don't do video though. I'm learning video, so
Well, I mean, that's another, get involved in the community, guys.
that's it, right?
Resources.
And that's another thing. It's a shared pool of knowledge when you get involved with streamers, and it's not just like networking to network on Twitch. You learn so much from the people that you work with and interact with. I've learned some of my best ideas for streaming have come as like tangents off of other people's ideas, where I'm like, oh, they're doing this cool idea, but I have one that I actually, that gives me this other separate idea that I could try out. That's might even be related at all, but it like springs that sort of inspiration in your mind, and you get so much of stuff from other people, which is great.
Someone we had cut off a moment ago.
Yeah, Katie, go ahead.
Katie.
Oh, me? Oh, hi.
Hey.
I don't have Photoshop skills. I use a website called PicMonkey. Have you guys not heard of PicMonkey?
I've not heard of PicMonkey.
I'm going right now.
Yeah, I buy the premium, which they raised the price of, by the way. But anyway, I use PicMonkey, and I use my own fonts and everything. So I do all my own graphics. The only graphics I have not done for any of my stuff were my emotes, because I'm not that skilled. But I do all my overlays, and I do that in video editing software. And I wanted to see how it would work. So I just got a cheap software program called Corel Video Studio, which I would recommend a different program, but something more powerful, like you guys have After Effects, would be phenomenal. But I do all my own overlays, and I just use those two programs mostly for all of that. But yeah, I use PicMonkey for graphics, and like you can get really creative in there, and they have some like things you can use, but I like to kind of incorporate things that I make and use that just to assemble it. And yeah, I just use Corel Video Studio, which is like $60. So it's cheap for...
That's not bad.
Yeah, and that's what I use for my intro screen, which I don't use anymore, but like for overlays, my outro screen, all that kind of stuff I make in there.
Oh, and keep your eyes on Humble Bundle, guys.
I was going to say, I actually got Corel from Humble.
They dropped some software packs. I think there's one running right now. I don't know what's in there, but they drop software packs every now and then that have some great resources.
So that's a great Humble is a great idea for streamers. If you don't know, I know Rob probably knows, but like getting keys, I
live on Humble Bundle.
To share with giveaways and things. Humble is a great place for streamers,
or even just games to stream.
Or just games to play, right? But you can get a huge pack of games, by donating to charity and then, give to the community and stuff like that. So I'd highly recommend, if you're trying to build up a key, like I have a key. I know Rob has a bigger one than me, Kappa. But
it's just a bigger handle. That's all.
It's just, But I have a big set of keys that I pull from whenever I need one. Like we're running a promotion right now, and I just rip the keys right from there. So.
Yep.
And that's, if you guys don't know about that, it's I'll just be link guy unless someone grabs
Humble
it.
Bundle's wonderful.
Link guy.
Yeah.
Link guy.
Link guy.
I do want to get back to tech stuff too, but a quick shift, just because this was asked earlier on, and I always think it's great to get other people mentioned and stuff. Do you have a streamer that you watch all the time? Whether it be for inspiration, whether it be for entertainment, who are like the top people that you watch?
Can we answer multiple, or is it just one? Like, can I get
you answer however you want to?
Okay, so I'll give personalized stories with like maybe just a small handful. So I do watch Acorn. Known her on Twitch for a long time, so that one's obvious and easy. I don't even have a blurb for her. We'll just say Acorn. I work with her. Rob as well. I've known Rob a while now, sort of from the same community vein. So I do interact and hang out in their channels or lurk if I'm busy doing stuff.
I see you lurking a lot, even if you don't see it.
A lot of times before streams, like I'll pop by Rob's channel and just lurk and give him a view and hang out while I'm setting up. So that's why those lurks that you see, Rob, that's what I'm doing.
That's the way a lot of my content is anyway. My content is very lurker friendly.
Yeah. No, I throw you up and listen to you while I stream. So Katie, so it's cool hanging out with Katie here. I'll give more of a blurb about Katie. Katie is someone that I raided one time because she was playing the same game as me. But then I kept coming back to her channel because I really liked her energy and her excitement. I loved getting a ton of high fives. I mean, that's if you guys know her, she gives a ton of high fives.
I do.
Just all the time. And I enjoy Katie, to be completely honest. So Katie is a person that I will lurk the crap out of, but also come by at least for the intro and say hello and get all energized. Who else? It's weird just mentioning you guys, but you're definitely like 3 people that I pop by a lot. If anybody else can go, and I'll think of some others. Sledge. That's a good one.
Oh yeah.
Sledge the wrestler. He is a treat for me. He's not somebody's chat that I talk in a lot. I lurk his channel so much, but it's because I just generally enjoy watching him as a streamer. So I'm just like, yeah, I just go hang out with Sledge. He's also
definitely have channels that I chat in more, and there are other channels that I definitely lurk in more. But
yeah, same.
Anybody else? People you watch?
I always try. Aaron Blair doesn't stream as much as he used to, but if he does,
he streams. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's how. Well, that's how. Yeah, so it's just Aaron Blair on here, but I will lurk in his channel. I don't know. I lurk a lot, and I feel bad because I'm not chatting, but I'm usually. I love Starlit Blossom. She's a sweetheart. I will hang out in Maxi Loeb's streams, but now that I don't know, Middle Age Stream is another one. I'm like looking through my follows. I'm trying to find, but I try to get around as much as I can, and I try to say hi to people. And lately, I've been trying to focus more on hanging out with like the people that I want to, and so like SK, I'm excited to check out Acorn's stream and your stream. I've been trying to like I don't know. Maybe I'm shifting my focus. I want to hang out with like the cool people that I've been hanging out.
You can't watch my stream because you're on it all the time now.
It's only been 2 times.
Until next time.
Yep.
Until next time. I'm on tomorrow, dude.
She's Benson.
I'm Doug Benson. Okay. Yeah, I think for the most part, yeah. I don't know. I try to get around just with work. Sometimes it's really hard. So I just lurk a lot.
I understand that for real.
Yeah.
Like I do a lot too. And Acorn, did you have anyone you wanted to mention?
In the last couple of months, I think the person I've watched the most is SK because of his streaming time. I worked a lot of days. And so I would come home and do my dinner thing. And then around 8 p.m. he'd go live. And if I wasn't doing anything or if I wanted to see the game he was playing, I would go tune in. But again, with work being the way it is for me, very physical, very like interacting with like the stuff in front of me, not sitting at a computer all day. I'm very disconnected from online and from Twitch. So unless I'm sitting down at my computer, which doesn't happen very often, so I have an office and I don't do too much work on it, I don't get to be on Twitch very often. Also, I am very much an introvert, and I have a thing with like my balance. So if I'm not feeling like being social and being on a channel that is kind of like loud and gaming, I will not. I will stay off the internet and I'll do something quiet that will make me feel better for the day. And so I think in a lot of ways I'm not very active online, but when I do watch streams, it's probably SK, Skull Walls, Rob here. I still haven't seen a Katie stream, and I really want to. You're one of the people I keep missing. I see notifications go off. Fuck, I can't right now. Also, I'm sorry ahead of time when you come to my stream. I curse so much.
Oh, you're
so much.
People think that I have like something against cursing because I don't curse on stream, but I curse a lot in real life.
Okay.
So-
I saw a highlight. I forget where. I think it was in your Kotaku video, which I want to like shout out later. But like you like said something like, "Sorry guys, I didn't mean to curse." I'm like, "Oh crap."
No, I think it's kind of like an Easter egg when I do accidentally curse on stream, and then everybody clips it, and then I can't live it down forever. So,
gotcha. Yeah.
So Acorn, you mentioned introverted stuff. You mean like your Etsy store? Plug.
I'll plug Katie if someone else plugs me. That's how I'll be okay with it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no. Acorn does Etsy store stuff. I was thinking you were talking about quiet introverted stuff.
I just thought about the potential read of that statement. So that's just be careful.
No, that's true. I'm an artist and I crochet and I love music and podcasts and like brainy stuff. So usually my version of unwinding is not going on Twitch and watching someone play games. It's listening to something that is beautiful and doing something like quiet, like draw or crochet. So yeah. So I do have an Etsy store.
I would say the people that I watch the most are Pumpkinberry and SK. For sure. PB's on like as soon as I get home from work, so that's super easy. SK's on
always when I'm at work.
Yeah, and SK's usually on like right after I'm done streaming. But also they are the people that I find the most entertaining on Twitch, easily. I love hanging out in SK's chat because sometimes I feel like I'm just talking to him if like chat gets slow or something, and I'll totally just talk to SK forever. But also to answer even another question while I'm answering this one, someone else had just thrown in, who would you say is the streamer who inspired you to start? I looked at, because I came in kind of as a pre-established brand, I looked at things like Nerdist and Geek and Sundry and The Attack, and those were kind of my inspirations. But there are I love some of the things that are coming to Twitch now. I don't know how many people know that Jim Lee is streaming now. Like DC creative officer Jim Lee. Like
That's
every
insane.
Sunday is doing a drawing stream. He's done online portfolio critiques. It's fascinating. If you're an artist and you're not watching his Sunday art streams, there's so much you can learn from them. They're wonderful.
Another person that was definitely one more person I wanted to plug, but I did want to make another side comment. But Coco the Louder,
yes.
I've been watching her a lot lately. The reason I want to plug her for sure, and I lurk her channels all the time because she helps me out a lot as a person. That's why I'm so into Coco. She does IRL streams. She used to do belly dancing, but she does IRL streams where she has her doctorate in psychology and she talks about mental health. Every day is a new topic where she talks about a piece of mental health, and she takes questions kind of like we're doing right now, but about mental health and taking care of yourself emotionally. And it's great. It's really needed. And for me, I listen and I'm like, oh my God, she's talking about cognitive distortions again. And I do the same exact stuff to myself mentally, you know, and it, like I can relate and I can understand and I can like read some of the PDFs that she's always linking. And so I like her stuff as well. One thing that before I, you know, while I have the floor stolen, I just know, like, as small streamers, I'll say this as like from a personal thing. Don't get down if you don't get hosts from larger streamers or people, you know, even, you know, just people like us, like, or we don't come by a lot. It's really hard as a streamer. That's one of the hardest things, is especially as you grow, seeing everyone. Like, there are times when people I know or really like as a person, even if they're streaming, I just because of time or just because of not bumping in, I don't see them for like a month or two. And it's not because I didn't want to see them or I don't care about them. It's just really hard sometimes to, you have a lot of friends and it's really hard to balance your time and also balance your real life. Like when I first started, it was much easier for me because I was devoting so much energy to Twitch to go to a lot of people's streams. It's hard now. It's very hard for me to spend time in streams. So a lot of times I'll be in those streams that I just mentioned because they're guilty pleasures. And I'm like, look, I just want to watch some Twitch and relax. You know, I love you and we'll communicate when we can, but it's hard to make certain streams sometimes, you know, it's not physically possible to spend all my time on Twitch. And anymore if I want to keep my energy up and actually be a streamer, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know everybody can relate to that. It's just a hard thing to like say sometimes, because you want people to know that you care and support them, especially if they're a new streamer in your community trying to start. But you just can't, you know, you have your streamer goals as a streamer to continue to network, make new friends, and then you have your free time, and it's just not sometimes it's just not enough. You know, you can't do everything. So,
Yeah. And that's where having help streamer to streamer is probably where a lot of the interaction happens. So getting advice or getting help or suggestions, not so much being a viewer in someone's stream. Once you become a streamer, regardless of how big or small you are, you're kind of like colleagues. So you can't necessarily expect one of your colleagues to come to your office space and like cheerlead you and pep you up, because they have their own work to do too. It's not like they don't want to be there, but they have their own goals, like you said, SK, and things they need to focus on. But if you pop by and say, hey, I'm doing this project, I don't know how to do it, can you help me? Chances are they will jump on it and say, yeah, absolutely, let me see what I can do. That's the difference.
Baron just said something in chat that I think is worth reading, because I 100% agree with this. Someone brought this up before in the chat. I think Coco's. They felt like they were not being noticed and not getting the attention they deserved for their dedication. So a viewer, I believe, mentioned that. I reminded them that the more popular a streamer gets, the more they have to split their attentions. Even if you've been there from the start, there's only so much time in the day, and that is 100% right. I had said many times before that I don't watch a lot of Twitch, and some of it is based on time. I am not someone who can put it up and like not be engaged in it. So like if I'm doing work, I can't watch Twitch because I will get sucked into the stream and not be able to do my work anymore. So if I'm going on Twitch, I'm going on Twitch to interact. I don't lurk that much. But with having started doing the Wheel Geek Gen, I'm discovering all these people that I never had the opportunity to discover before. And now I want to go watch all of them, but I don't have time to go watch all of them. And I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
It can be tough. And it's a mental stress on us too, right? Like, you know, I worry about that. I don't want people to feel like I don't see them. You know, it's just another one of those like streamer stresses people don't always think about, but it's like, I don't want people to think I'm ignoring them. You know, I love the community and I love seeing people, and I love it when someone tells me, you know, like when I say, oh my gosh, this person that's in the community started streaming. I think it's cool to even try out, but it's like, I can't, you know, I wish I could, but I can't. And sometimes I feel guilty, but it's just not possible, you know? So.
Yeah.
Let's see. Sorry, I'm wondering where we should go because there's so many good questions. Do you think having the cam on matters when you stream?
I think so. I from my experience, I've noticed like if they can't see me, they don't like it. But I don't know. It might just be, I enjoy sometimes just hearing people talk and seeing the full gameplay. Like I enjoy that. But I do think like some people are like, I want to see the person I'm talking to. And I can understand that.
Keep in mind, there are plenty of streamers that don't use cams that are doing great.
But like Lyric, he doesn't use a cam and he's killing it. So yeah.
So the thing is, like, if you think, so I've talked about the reason I'm jumping in so quickly is because we've talked about this at work before, because I try to encourage webcam use. We deal with people all over teams in other countries that we work with. And there's a psychological benefit to seeing someone's face versus not, right? When it comes to connecting with that person. So if you are a community driven streamer, you want to be community faced. If the person asking this is a new streamer who wants a community they see in a community based stream, then a cam is probably the right way to go. You may think, I don't look that great, or I don't want to show my face. It's not about that. It's at a human level, at a psychological level. You relate and connect to someone more when you see their face and you are talking to their face than you do when it's just text. I can email people all day at work, but I will not care about their opinion until I've like seen them or met them. I know it firsthand because I've taken business trips and traveling and shook people's hand. And after that, I was so positive about and nicer in my emails to those people, those people, because I felt like I knew them. And it's not like they were any better than anyone else that I've talked to. It's just that I have that emotional, personal connection to that person because I've seen their face. And I think it's just innate to us as humans. But that being said, it's not that important. You know, if you don't want to be community driven, And you still can, it's just going to be harder, but
Mhm.
your voice is fine. Or if you want to be a streamer who's good at gaming or not really driven by community, then yeah, you could be super successful if you're a good gamer and you have a nice voice. You don't have to have the camera. It's not required, but you got to think about what you want and what it means to have a camera.
Yeah, because ultimately you are an entertainer. So if you're expressive with your face, then yeah, cam's probably a better option. If you're expressive with your words and your voice and the way you talk, if you're not talking monotone, if you can hear someone's personality and emotions in their voice, then you may not need cam. And then there are other people who still want to have an image, like the character streamers like W Greats or General Mittens, or even the puppet, I forget his name. Benny, yeah, Benny the Monster. People like that will take on a character face and do like face rig or some other software to give themselves a character, because they still want to have that visual connection with their community, while still like showing their true personality through their voice, but then having a character be the face of their channel. So I don't think it's a matter of importance. Like, is it important to, or do you need to have a camp? It's more like you said, SK, what are you going for? What impact do you want to make, and what are your best assets for making sure people understand where you're coming from, what kind of person you are? How do you express yourself?
Yeah, if you're feeling a level of self-consciousness, like, do something like that, create a character. Like, there are a lot of people, someone just said in chat too, some people use masks. Like, if you really have an issue with yourself being on camera and you still want that psychological benefit, become a character. And there's something nice about that too. There's something where you can kind of escape into your character and get to do that, and maybe that's your release. Some people probably do that just for that aspect. I always found that to be like a nice part of wrestling, was like throw on a mask, go out there, boom. Like, I don't have to be me right now. I can go be somebody else. And that was like super stress relief.
As an introvert, it's actually really helpful to wear masks. I found putting things on your face or hiding yourself makes you feel more comfortable. Sometimes just wearing sunglasses out in public makes me feel
oh my god, yeah,
around other people, because I feel like I'm hiding from them. It's weird, but I don't think that actively, but I've noticed it in myself. I'm like, oh, I'm more comfortable because I'm behind the mask, so to speak, and no one can see me or hurt me.
That just made me realize something. Maybe that's why I never wear my contacts. On like really confident days when I'm feeling good, I'll wear contacts. Otherwise, I'm behind my glasses all the time.
Exactly. No,
they're comfort. Yeah,
absolutely comfort. It's a comfort thing.
Yep.
There's a couple questions here that are kind of related to each other, so I guess we could cover them together. One says that I am a small streamer. And how do you go about managing Discord, Twitter, and streaming with just yourself? Because I have no mods. I feel like I don't engage enough. How would you suggest growing numbers also? In that same vein, someone else was asking where's the best places to get involved and get your Twitch out there. It's hard to get out there. So I guess we have a dual question of managing social media, which we kind of answered a little bit with community managers and stuff. And it's just hard. Honestly, it's just a time commitment. There's really there's no way around it at the beginning, especially. You just have to do it if you want to grow that way. But as far as getting your Twitch out there and growing your community, I mean, like I said before, I played things that I knew would involve my community, and I grew that way. But I also quickly learned the importance of networking and collaborating with other streamers. What we're doing right now, even though I think like we're creating great content right now, this is still technically networking because we're all hanging out together. We're all bringing our communities together. And in my opinion, this is the best networking that we're doing right now. This kind of stuff where it's content first, and then we're also in the process getting to know each other better and like enjoy hanging out with each other. And we don't think about it like networking. That's the best networking.
Yeah.
And I think to play off of that, that's a really important piece. I mean, like I shared earlier, my story was I had to work with what time I had. So I did have to shed some things like my Discord channel and focus on other things that I can do. There are, of course, like tools you can use to schedule tweets or to get ideas for Instagram postings. But really, to get your Twitch out there, I think be as authentic as you can and find people who you resonate with. Like, networking is huge, but it's most effective when you find people that are like you. Because once you have a support group of streamers or even like of viewers, it opens a lot of doors for you when it comes to being able to do things. Like, for instance, this panel. I mean, like we talked about earlier, Rob has this kind of background and he loves doing this kind of thing. So we're playing off of his strengths, but also networking together and getting a chance to bring our communities together and make new friends and new connections. But it kind of had to start with us finding each other in the first place. So create your space, your channel, to be authentic, and then go out and try to make connections with people that is not forced.
Yeah.
I think that's I think the simplest way to put it.
Authenticity is key to me too. Just to do a quick addendum to Acorn, I agree with that. I find that what you'll notice in the long run is if you start to try to network and push in ways that aren't very authentic, you'll start to get really burnt out because you'll start to feel like you're faking things just to network on Twitch. When I mentioned the people that I watched earlier, I truly enjoy those people. I like these guys that you see around me. I enjoy their company. I think they're good people. And it makes it really easy to network and talk to them because I generally love their streams. So I think that if you approach networking, approach it with the people that you generally enjoy. Don't say, oh, look, a big streamer, let me go talk to them, because you might hate what they do. You know, not everybody's going to like everybody. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Find a person that you really like and talk to them, but not in an aggressive, inorganic way. Talk to them like you would talk to a friend. Get to know them, and you'll find some really good friendships. More so than networking, you'll find some great friendships out of it. So just keep authenticity in mind when it comes to networking.
I feel like I can tell when someone's being genuine, and I can tell when they're not. And so that's what draws me to certain streamers. I'm like, you're a genuine person, and I can tell that, because it is for me. Even when someone comes in chat, or I've been in some streams where I'm like, they're not being genuine, and I don't think we would mesh. And so then I just kind of move on, and I have to be okay with things because I want everybody to like me, but I have to realize that not everybody will. And that's been a challenge for me because I've always struggled with, like, I want everyone to like me, but I think that sometimes that is counterintuitive and can hold you back. And I think it's better just to go out and hang out with streamers that you have something in common with, that you can get along with. And I think things kind of unravel from there. Like the way that I never told anybody I streamed. It started to work out when I would go hang out with other streamers. We just hang out and I'd form relationships with people. And then they'd be like, I'm going to click on Katie's page. And then they'd be like, you stream? And then they would start coming and hanging out with me when I would be on. So it didn't happen by me going into a chat and saying, hey, I'm gonna stream in 20 minutes, or hey, I'm a streamer too. It was just kind of like I was talking to people.
We're always shaking our heads like, no, don't do that.
Let's do that.
That is the worst way. Worst
way. One way to authentically get people, right? Like, it doesn't do anything for
even
yourself.
Passively. Even
Mm-hmm.
passively, like, oh, coming into a stream and being like, oh, I have questions about streaming or whatever. Like, no, that's not the time for it. You're in somebody else's house.
Yeah.
That's their house.
And I think that, like, you can tell when somebody's coming in and they're trying to form relationships and friendships and interested in you and interested in the other people, versus coming in to see, oh, if I can get her to be my friend, maybe it'll help my numbers. Maybe it'll help me in other ways. And I mean, I can kind of see through that sometimes. And I always look for the best in everybody. And sometimes people just don't understand the etiquette. But I can tell when someone's being genuine and when someone's not. And I think it's important that people keep that in mind. Just be yourself and, like, just go make friends, and then everything else will fall into place after.
Basically, yeah.
Absolutely.
Real quick on the etiquette, there are like unspoken rules on Twitch for how to conduct yourself, things that you shouldn't say, things that you shouldn't do a certain way. When it comes to asking for help, like I said, streamers are super helpful as long as you do it respectfully. A perfect example is a couple streams ago, I had someone come in who was very humble and said, hey, I actually have a couple questions. I don't want to hijack your stream, but I was just wanting to know if you could help me. Would you be okay with answering a couple questions? Coming in like that gives the streamer the opportunity to set the ground rules for how they want their stream to work. So for me, it was a creative stream. I was crocheting, and they came in very respectfully. I said, yeah, of course, we can pause and talk about some things. What are you wondering? So we talked about cameras for a bit, and I gave my my opinions, and they didn't prolong it and then try to get more attention. They just simply said, thank you, that helped me. Thank you so much. I'm gonna go now. And I said, okay, great. Good luck. Like, that's, I mean, really being respectful, because like I said before, no matter how big you are, streamers are colleagues, so respect each other. Think of, you don't want someone to come into your chat and start to hijack your viewers and be like, look at me. Oh my God, I stream. I'm so cool. I'm going to stream in 10 minutes. Come see. Like, you wouldn't want someone to come into your chat to do that. So why would you do it to someone else?
It's weird. Twitch has this like shared thing of, it's not necessarily competitive, because collaboration is where Twitch shines. So it's not competitive. And yet at the same time, we're all very protective of our spaces.
Yeah.
And that has to be respected. Yeah. It's very true. Like we share so much common community that like our viewers bounce back and forth all the time. But yet if someone else came in and was like, oh, so-and-so is streaming right now, it's like, well, yeah, but not right now. Like, now's not the time for that. Like,
yeah, can I, like, for me, it's a little different, because I think about this all the time. I think about the sharing thing. I'm like, you know, as a streamer, I'm like, we have this unspoken rule. So this, I may be breaking a little bit of the mold here.
No, go ahead.
But as a streamer, I'm like, you know, I'm not, if someone came into my chat and said I'm streaming, it wouldn't, like, I'd be like, oh, that's an unspoken rule, but it wouldn't bother me that much, because I don't feel threatened as a streamer. I mean, I'm just having fun anyway. I don't feel threatened. And so I'm like, well, why should that be a rule? But at the same time, when I thought about that, I realized what the real problem for me as a person is that as a streamer, especially a person with anxiety, I'm very controlled. Streaming for me is a very controlled environment. I pump myself up for it. I know what's going on. I know what I can handle. Sometimes I can't handle voice chat. Like, sometimes my viewers, they might be playing a game with me and I can't do voice chat because I don't feel comfortable that night doing voice chat. I'm feeling anxious. But it's a very controlled environment. Well, when you come into my space and make it your space, I lose control and I feel uncomfortable because my anxiety starts kicking up because I don't know how to handle it. And so I start to freak out. And so for me, losing control of my space, like you're saying, gives me anxiety. And I'm like, okay, now I'm out of my groove. Oh God. And now I'm in my head. And I start to mess up as a streamer. And so for me, that's what bothers me the most. It's not necessarily, you know, but at the same time, it is disrespectful. So I do respect that aspect. It's not like I'm coming in like, guys, why do you care so much? It is, you know, it's like if you came into my work and said, hey guys, I do your job better. And like, hold on. I was like, half price, same job. And like, you can't do that. It's not respectful, right? But you know, there's also other reasons, right? It's like taking control of my space that I am carefully controlling because I have general anxiety disorder and I need to have control of my space. So, you know, there's other reasons as well. So it's very important that you try to respect the channel that you're in. Yeah. Well, I made that mistake, to be honest. I actually did it once when I was first a streamer, and then I realized later, I'm like, I can't believe it.
I did too. I think a lot of us do. Until you learn the etiquette of anything, you're going to make mistakes.
I didn't think about it. In fact, I wasn't even doing it. I just said, I got to go to stream. And then I realized later, I'm like, oh God, what have I done? Like, I didn't know. They probably hated me. I can never go back. I can never go back. I don't know this. I can never go back.
I do think like the respect thing is huge, because you are going into like, it's kind of like inviting people into your house, like on your stream. And if people are just kind of like, there was one time I did a Rocket League stream and I made the mistake of leaving my voice chat open. And people were coming in and like saying some of like the most homophobic things. And I was trying to like lay down the law. I'm not the kind of person who like likes to lay down the law. I just remember being like, that stream changed how I did a lot of things. And I was like, it kind of ruins it for everybody else who, you know, the toxic people won that night. And it sucked because I felt out of control. It really affected my mood. And I just was like, this is not the content I want people to see. And so since then, what I had to do is adapt. And I was like, okay, I made a mistake. It's not how you're supposed to do this. And you just have to adjust from there. But I think that part of that is, as a viewer, you have to be respectful of what the streamer is trying to like grow and make. And going in there and trolling can sometimes be like that you can't control like trolls. That's just what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're like trying to like become a part of the community, just try to like respect that. And you can pick up from other people in the chat what the vibe is. And I think that it's pretty easy to see what is acceptable and what's not.
Just to throw this out there, it's like 3 minutes to 9 o'clock already.
Let's keep going.
We had said before that we were going to do about 2 hours. What I could do is, if you guys want to keep going, if you need to go, totally fine. But if you want to keep going, I could close the question queue and we could take care of like the 9 questions that are left in here. And maybe
I'm cool with that.
And see
That's
what happens.
Fine.
Okay.
Whatever, and just freeform over that.
All right. So we'll close the question queue for now.
Okay.
And I don't even know how to do this. Oh wait, I'll just turn it off like that. There we go. I think that's
this is like an aside to all that, like a tangential type of piece. But it can sometimes be tough as a streamer, balancing your vision and your goals for the channel and your content against your community, right? So like doing for instance like voice chats, like I was just talking about voice chats and how I do like to play with people, but sometimes it's hard to feel like you have control over your content, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys handle that? Because I actually have one streamer, Simply Jackson, who does it really well, where she's like, this is exactly how I want the voice to go. This is how I control my content. She's like that end of it, but she does it really well and says, look, this is how my voice chats are run. It can be tough sometimes because you want to be community driven and do voice chats, but at the same time balance that with your vision for the channel and also still feeling comfortable. Like for me, it's an anxiety thing always. It's like, I could do voice chat, but I'm like, I can't control that. And so I'm going to freak out. Like, so how do you guys feel about that? I mean, content, it doesn't even have to be specifically about voice chat. It can be content versus community. You know, sometimes those two clash.
I feel like I'm pretty explicit with my directions on stuff. Like even just doing this tonight, I let you guys know what I wanted out of it, in the sense that we
didn't listen, but you let us know.
Yeah. No, like I say like this, like, or even for Wheel of Geek Gen, I send out like a form for my guests now and everything that have kind of the guidelines of what the stream is like you guys can't look at chat, this and that, but we'll but I kind of set up most of my things like that. I think like I did kind of incorporate kind of a more chaotic element, even though a lot of people haven't taken advantage of it yet. During my chat time streams on Fridays, which is when I do my IRL thing or whatever, I started allowing subs to call in via the voice channel. So if they have a question or if they want to talk to me about a specific subject, they can do so. I also know that just from like being a panel moderator and stuff for years, that questions and discussions can quickly go off the rails if you don't know where they're going. And as streamers, we are responsible for our content. So if certain things are presented that we don't approve of or that violate the TOS, we have to immediately cut that off, or else we can get in trouble for it. So I do let people know, even just from a technical point of view, I'm like, please put your headphones on if you're going to call in, because I don't want to hear myself echoing through your computer. My content's important to me and the people watching. I don't want to like scare people away because they can't listen to what's happening right now. And I've also said too that if I feel like this conversation has reached an endpoint, I will say bye and I'll hang up, because I have to think content first. I have to think about everybody that's watching, and you just got to do what you got to do with it. So I lay out the groundwork beforehand so that people know what to expect. That way, hopefully, I mean, it could still happen, but hopefully nobody will take offense if I'm like, great question, we had a chat and now it's time to move on, because there might be other people waiting, or I just want to move on to something else.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Setting rules ahead of time, it doesn't mean anything you think anything less. It's just you setting, this is what I'm comfortable with, this is what I expect, so that I feel comfortable in my channel and that I feel like I'm going with the vision of my channel. And I think anybody who's reasonable will understand.
That was a growing pain for me, is voice chat. I'm naturally pretty shy, and I'm a people pleaser. Been working on that, and Twitch has helped me grow in that, where I would play Battlefront or go do Grand Theft Auto Online, and those can be very toxic, and people, I would feel obligated to have people in my chat because they wanted to play with me, and they would just railroad me for an hour and a half and like talk over me. And it was just something where I feel like I am very selective of who I do allow in voice chat with me. And it's because I know those people will be respectful and they won't do that to me. But I had to learn that the hard way. And like, I struggle with voice chat sometimes because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but it can destroy your content if you're not on top of it. And I've learned that the hard way several times.
It's true.
Yeah. It's hard to be a nice person too.
Yeah.
Like, Rob, at least in your case, you've had so much experience running things, running panels, running a podcast. So I think you, out of a lot of us, have a really good take on how to redirect and how to cut things off in a very like cordial way. For us, it's kind of like, I don't know what to do. I'm uncomfortable. Can you stop? Anyway, let's get back to stream. Like, it's so awkward. So I think that's something that a lot of us are getting better at. I'm sure there's other streamers out there too who get in those situations. It's probably so common. Having just anyone from your chat join is such a roll of the die. Like, you could get anything. And even if you know them as a person in chat, it's different when they're in voice sometimes. And a lot of people, like we talked about earlier, unless you stream, you don't really know how stream works. You can watch a lot of streams, but when you are a viewer like on a streamer's channel with them on voice, you may not realize the cadence or the approach to things, or might not realize you're talking over someone, or you're talking about like your cousin and that day they came over and all these like side stories about your life. That cool would be fun if you're just gaming with friends, but you're like live on someone's channel. Like, keep it content related. So yeah, like it's a little awkward to address. Yeah, I think for anybody.
Yeah, it can be hard, and it throws you out of your groove. And I think that the way to handle that, and I think the way that I like to do it now is, I think, I like playing with people, and so I think the best way to do it is say, hey, we have community stuff, and then we have stream stuff, and stream stuff is content focused on growing the community, and then community stuff is focused on being in the community. I think that's a good way to do it, And so I highly encourage anyone who wants to be community focused to don't just say, hey, I'm not going to do voice chat with anybody, I'm not going to play with anybody, because that's not very community focused. Say, do community, like, spend time with the people in your community, be a part of that by doing gaming nights off stream and stuff like that. I think that in the long run, that's going to be more beneficial for you and keep you still in your comfort zone.
All right, so let's bang out these questions here. What's your favorite indie game currently? Totally different question.
Indie game?
Yeah, what's your favorite indie game currently?
Currently?
Dang, that's hard.
I'm playing Cuphead right now, and it's friggin' unbelievable. Let me just say that.
I love anything by the Chinese Room, and they did Everybody's Gone to the Rapture.
Oh my god, Katie!
Yeah, I love
Everybody's Gone to the Rapture.
Oh, do you? Oh, that makes sense.
I gasmed when you said Chinese Room.
Yeah, I adore that game. I didn't play it on stream. I just sat there and like did the whole thing. What?
No, it's just so funny that immediately you tapped into an SK thing like so fast. It's so good.
I don't even want to play Everybody's Gone to the Rapture because I was there for every moment of SK's stream and I loved it. It was so good.
It was an amazing game, and like that is probably one of my it is probably my top favorite game.
Did you play Dear Esther as well by them?
I have it and I need to play it.
Okay, I played that after. There's no reason not play it. It's an earlier game of theirs, but it's still good. You should play it. Absolutely play it. I don't think it beats Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, but it's in the same vein, and I think you'll very much enjoy it. In Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, the part where you're in between scenes, the part where you're in, I don't want to spoil too much, but the part in between
chapters,
basically, you can call it that, is I still I gasmed my face off because I was like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
It was the most beautiful game I've ever played, and I was like, there's nothing wrong with this, and like I adore that game. And so now I followed like everything that game developer does because
but everybody's screaming sheet physics in chat because Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. They hung sheets from the clotheslines and you could walk through the sheets. And I was like, oh my God, there's sheet physics. And I was like going back. R thing.
They would flap like perfectly.
Best sheet physics ever.
Wonderful.
It was so good. I don't know if I'm playing any indie games right this second, but Everybody That's Gone to the Rapture is a great one. I'm trying to think.
What was the one you were recently playing? I think from the Mist devs.
Ooh.
Riven?
No.
Oblivion.
Yes.
Is it Oblivion?
Oblivion. That sounds right.
Sorry,
Abduction. Yes.
There's O's. Observer, Abduction, Oblivion.
Yes. That's a really good one. Abduction is a really good one. It's from the creators of Riven and Mist, and it's in the same vein, but it's more geared towards the modern age. It's really nice, actually. Very much. Oh my god! I just launched Dead by Daylight accidentally.
This is gonna change real quick, guys. Everybody launch up. There we go.
We're now a gaming stream. Sorry, rip. I was in Steam looking for what I played recently, just to mention it. And Talos Principle is my favorite game.
That's coming up for me.
If you consider Pro Team, I guess, as an indie dev.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's. I can't get out of Dead by Daylight. I just gotta look at pumpkins.
They're very nice pumpkins.
They are nice. Won't let me exit. There we go.
All-time indie for me is probably Binding of Isaac. I love that game so much. So much.
I don't know if 7 Days to Die would count. It's alpha, but I don't know if it's indie.
That's indie.
I don't really.
Yeah.
I would say current favorite is that because I just love going into a post-apocalyptic world and gathering things because I'm weird.
I like that too. So then I guess I'm weird.
Okay, cool. So 7 Days to Die, there's zombies and stuff, but it's also very based on crafting, so you can build cool things. It's not quite like Minecraft, but it's up there. But like, I go in there and I'm like, hey, do you need some rocks? I'll go mine some rocks for you. I'll go pick up some eggs. I just want to go get things for people. But when it comes to other indie games I played recently, I did play Oxenfree, and that was amazing. That was one of those extremely cozy nights where I just started a game and didn't want to end it. Like you mentioned this earlier, Katie, where it's easier to not plan a long stream. It's easier just to organically grow into it. And that was one of those nights I streamed easily for 7 hours and finished the whole game. And it was amazing. It was so great. Yeah, I haven't played a lot of games recently, so I would say those are my picks.
I don't know. Would The Long Dark be considered one?
Totally.
I think so. Yeah.
I loved that game, and I feel like I loved it a lot more than my community did. I just loved wandering and fighting wolves, and I love crafting things too, like the forest. If you like 7
Yes.
the forest.
These guys in the forest.
Yeah. But yeah, I play a lot of indie horror games. Wait, did I miss something?
They co-stream the forest all the time.
Oh, I had no idea. But I really enjoy that game.
It's so pretty too.
I like making like the beds. I always felt bad killing the rabbits though. That just was too much for me.
In the forest?
A master
yeah,
killer.
in the forest.
I can't kill sea turtles. I can't.
Yeah, that depressed me. I made like a water basin. I was just like, I can't believe I did this. It's too much.
SK, I'm watching you. I'm bored with this stream. I'm not playing Dead by Daylight.
It's Dead by Daylight time, guys. Load it
up. This question's for everyone. Oh, good. Because I think we've all been answering them all. If you could do any one thing different about your streams, what would it be and why? I think that's something we're always thinking about.
Yeah.
God, yeah.
So it's really hard to kind of lock down one thing. I mean, I know for me, I always want better production value. I'm always pushing for that.
My lighting sucks a lot, and I wish I could, and my audio. If I could fix my audio every stream and have my lighting just right, I think I'd be a lot happier with the quality. There's always like little things that I see happening during stream in OBS where I'm like, dang it, that doesn't look the way that I want, but I can't just be on there like moving things around. So I do that though. Sometimes I'm like, I gotta move this. I'm sorry guys. But yeah, I think just like little things like that. Or if I have tech issues, I get real sad about that. Like yesterday, SK played and we played Dead by Daylight, and I couldn't get my Discord audio to work. And I was just like, don't let it get to you. And so I just was able to work it out and it was fine. But it's frustrating when you're in the middle of stream and you're live and you have to like be like, hold on, let me open up my audio stuff and try to figure out how to fix this problem. So that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Hang on, I fixed something. Let me kill stream for a second. I'll be right back.
Let me restart. That's always a fun one.
That's when you start playing Sarah McLachlan, right?
Oh God. In the arms of it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
One of my favorite SK stream moments ever.
What was that? I'm sorry.
He's done it like 3 times.
I know,
Which
it's
one?
so good. When Acorn died.
When I give a eulogy.
Yes. That's one of my favorite things ever. Yeah. By the way.
Yeah. I thought Pop-Tart vendor voice was your favorite.
Like, that's my favorite ongoing bit.
Oh, okay.
Inside jokes.
I just like watching Rob's face geek out about me. It makes me so happy. I'm like, so Rob loves me, damn it. Yeah. Because Rob's like, yes, do the Pop-Tart voice, do the Pop-Tart voice.
Look, I'm a simple man and I like simple things. And,
I think my answer would just be like getting better in general. I think little things bother me. Relatedly, what you just said, there's a problem too with having a really cool community of streamers because we have so many inside jokes. And I've had moments where I'm on stream and I'm enjoying the hell out of myself, referencing things that are making me giggle. But then like, I'm just thinking this is not good for like new people. I need to make sure to like embrace new people and bring them into the community and not just like talk about, remember Sko when you did that one thing at SKO, God, that one time. And it's like kind of ostracizing sometimes, but at the same time, it's great. I don't really have an answer really for that question. Just everything.
I'd love to have a different kitchen setup. That's one thing I'd love to have. My kitchen is not a great setup for streaming. I always feel like I'm bending over, like crouching over too much because I need like an island that's up here that I can make things on instead of like, it's just uncomfortable.
The irony is my kitchen would be great for you, and I don't barely do creative streams in the kitchen.
But you should be doing more. Oh, wait, what? I feel like there's an invitation coming. Wait, no, go ahead.
Does Essential Chef have kitchen envy for my kitchen?
Yeah. Acorn, I would love to cook in your kitchen and like make some soup. And
should I go?
Nope. The more the merrier.
All right, it's getting really hot in here, guys. This is too lewd for me. I can't do it.
Too lewd.
It's not. Oh man.
What else do we have here? How do you keep your stream interesting when no one is watching? Is talking to yourself a good thing in streaming?
That's a great question. Yes.
Yeah. Guys, I bet this came from a new streamer, like, because that's a question I asked myself or asked other people.
Honestly, if you come to one of my streams, it's not a lot different if people are talking to me or if nobody's talking to me. It's kind of the same stream.
Because you just don't care about us, Rob.
That's true. That's true.
I feel like it's tough because I try to think back to when I first started and nobody was there. I think I just narrated what I was doing, and like I would make fun of myself or make fun of things that were happening in the game. And then I still do that. Like sometimes chat will be slow and no one's saying anything, but I'm like, well, I'll just talk about what I'm doing and why that fridge in the corner looks so weird or something like that. I think you don't have to always be talking, but it's good to not just sit there and play. Because I do think like I've gone, I can understand the struggle with that though. Sometimes it's not like you don't know what to say, but if you can make fun of something or comment on something, I think it's good to do that.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of realizing that the commentary you're having in your head, just let it come out your mouth. Mm-hmm. Like you said, commenting on weird stuff like, why is that fridge? Like, why is it there? Or what's that coloring that's going on it? And then you like kind of elaborate on the fridge, or you talk about like the graphics or the path that you're on. It reminds you of that one time in your life when this happened. And like, you just kind of like stream of consciousness topics, just let yourself talk about them. And then peppered in between that, you'll have questions from chat or comments in chat that will help you like talk more. Yeah, basically just talking about the stuff that you're noticing and letting yourself talk about it, not just letting it sit in your head.
Yeah.
I'll approach it from a different angle, right? So I know I'm like putting myself in the mindset of the person that asked the question, and I think, you know, back when I asked that question, you know, and the hardest thing you can do to yourself is worry about your viewer numbers and who's in your chat. All right. So what ends up happening is you start looking at your numbers, you start thinking about who's there and who's not there, who popped in for a minute, didn't come there. That's the worst thing you can do, because you psych yourself out of any kind of interesting, meaningful thoughts. All you're thinking about is the stream and how you're not doing good or how you're not being funny. Easiest way is to close all of that information, look away from it, and just have fun.
Yeah.
I guarantee you the majority of people who have followed my channel have followed because I was genuinely having fun and interacting, not because I was sitting there worried that I was producing good content or that I was just having a good time. So just talk, you know, play the game and talk about what you're thinking about. Enjoy yourself, you know. Stream like it doesn't matter who's watching. Stream like you're having playing a video game.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you
Dance
start
like nobody's watching.
Exactly. As soon as you start worrying about that, your content will go down.
Yeah.
And then when someone stops in your channel randomly, that could have been viewer number one. Well, guess what? They saw you worrying instead of, you know, talking.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to remember that.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to railroad you.
You're fine.
But it's like you can tell when somebody's not enjoying themselves, because I've been guilty of that. If I've had a bad day, I can tell that I'm not like on my game. But you can tell, like, I've been in streams where I can tell people are like mad or upset about like how stuff's going, or, you know, as much as you can, just don't talk about it. Because I've been in chats where they're like, well, I don't know why nobody's coming around anymore, and I don't know why they don't want to hang out, and what kind of stuff do you guys want? And then chat, like, I just think it's like a turn off for chat.
Yeah, like in real life, is that the person you want to hang out with?
Yeah, like it's kind of like if we were having a conversation in real life, and I'm just like, I don't know, do you like hanging out with me? Like, do you want to keep hanging out? Like, it's something like that. And people go, I go to Twitch because I want to hang out and I want to escape, or I want to, you know, hang out with my friends and have fun. And if it starts to, you can just tell sometimes that it's not, the streamer's not having fun, and then the chat's not having fun.
Chat is the chat involvement I've noticed, or at least chat participation, is directly proportionate to my energy levels. If I am getting tired, I know like where my wall is, and I can feel it when I start getting like low energy, especially during like a gaming stream. And then I'll be like, I should probably sign off soon. And then I'll look over at chat and be like, nobody said a word in 10 minutes. I should definitely like it's because I am like, bleh. I'm just done. I shouldn't be streaming anymore. You got to cut it off at some point.
It is hard to manage chat and a game sometimes too.
Very.
Like Cuphead, you have to watch the game. You can't be like, oh, let me just look over here for a second and respond, because like there's just too much happening. And like I do think that maybe some viewers don't understand that sometimes it's hard to not, you can't always be reading chat. And you know, it sucks when people are like, you suck at this game, but I'm like, I'm also trying to read chat and I can't fully focus on the game. If I could focus more, I probably wouldn't suck as much, but yeah.
That's the other thing, guys. Just for our benefit, we're all worse when we're playing on stream. Just know that. We're all worse at every game when we're playing on stream. There's something about doing that stuff publicly that just makes you infinitely more terrible. And the fact that we're paying attention to chat and being distracted the whole time.
Yeah.
Guys, stop just like don't chat with us anymore when we're playing games. That's what I'm saying. What else do we have here? How much input do you take from your mods? I witnessed drama from streamers and mods disagreeing over things in community. If I know me personally, if I had a mod that directly opposed me publicly, they would not be a mod anymore. Like, feel free to talk to me behind the scenes as much as you want. Do not do that publicly.
I agree with that.
Yeah, professionalism. You don't want to air your dirty laundry or your mod drama in chat in front of everybody. Like, whisper or have a mod channel in Discord or something like that. Some like roundabout way of getting the message across. And also it's a really good idea to have mod rules, so you at least have the groundwork laid for your mods, so they know the expectations. They're not just modding blindly.
Yeah. I can agree with that. I think I basically echo everything they said. You know, my mods, all my mods, most of which are here tonight, I love them all. I think they're great people and I respect them. But if they do want to talk to me or they want to oppose me, go to the mod channel and say, SK, you are an idiot. I think everything you're saying right now is stupid. That's fine. I respect you enough to be like, okay, let's talk about why you think that. But if you do that in chat, I'm again ripped out of my comfort zone to where I'm like, wow, I just got like, I got like slapped in the middle of chat and now I feel really worried about it. Like it's starting to make me sweat internally. I'm like, oh God, abort, you know? So like, tell me how dumb I am in chat. But I love all my mods enough. You know, if they want to tell me something, tell me I'm being a potato. Tell me I disagree. Tell me I'm going a wrong direction. I don't mind that. No,
as children, we didn't like it when mommy and daddy fought in front of us, and we don't like it on Twitch either.
Yeah, I think it's tough because like they are an extension of the stream. They represent you, whether when you get that sword, it actually means something. It's not just for me. I don't hand it out to just anybody. And so I have a mod channel, and like one of the things though is like if they're gonna dish it out to me, they have to be willing to take it. Also, like if I am saying like no, I don't like that that's being done this way. That's another thing I think that you need in a mod is that they need to understand like, okay, I understand she's trying to accomplish something here and I can respect that. Or if they don't agree, that we can have a constructive conversation versus just like, no, you're wrong. So I think like keeping that stuff behind closed doors also helps ensure that your stream is running more smoothly. And I think that it can really make a difference in how the chat flows. Because if stuff gets weird in your chat, like stuff just kind of goes downhill from there.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to.
It's always confused me to see like channels where the streamer will be like, okay, I'll give out mod for XYZ. Like, no, why would you give someone power in your channel who might have like a system completely different than yours?
Yeah.
Back to tech. What is a good dual screen setup that is affordable so I could interact with chat easier without alt tabbing out? I mean, just
like monitor type?
I don't know exactly what they're looking for. If that person's still here and wants to clarify, I've seen if you're looking for a cheap solution and you already have a smartphone, I've literally seen people like throw up their Twitch chat on their phone.
Yes,
and look at it that way.
Right in front. Yep.
When I sat on the couch, I had my cell phone up, and that's how I read chat. But I only have 2 screens. I know some people have like 5 screens, and I just don't have the space for that. And I'm sure that I would use every single one of those screens, but I have 2 screens and one is cheaper than the other. I have a nicer one. Then I have like a more moderate one for just kind of keeping OBS open on and stuff that doesn't matter as much, but then my gameplay is more high quality in front of me, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think two for me is important, but I think that you could survive with one. But also there are options. I mean, you know, that could be one of your first purchases. It definitely does help to have a second monitor. It makes it cleaner for you because everything that you need to see can go on that other monitor. Your alerts, your everything, and it can be managed from the other monitor.
Even knowing that you're live.
Yeah, just everything. Knowing you're live, making, you know, so but a good option, you're right, is find some kind of mount for your phone or put, you know, I could put my phone like right up in front of me if I wanted to and just read chat. I've seen streaming, especially if you're just getting started, you know. But there are options, and you know, monitors are becoming cheaper and cheaper, so you could either buy one or you can go try to find one, you know, that's been donated somewhere or discounted somewhere. You might be able to find a monitor that's really old and it might still work for you, because all you need it, you know, it's not like you need to be fancy. Look, I like Katie was saying, I wasn't very fancy when I first started streaming. You know, I didn't have a lot of fancy stuff. It was just the stuff that I had for gaming and a camera, and that was it. I used my headset mic, and everything was what I had as a streamer. And it wasn't like till like a year later when I actually started buying like stream stuff. So I went a whole year of growth without even upgrading. So you can find ways around it. Don't overspend. You may not even like streaming 6 months later. So it goes back to that other question. But you know, find easy, cheap ways. I think the phone is one, or find yourself a cheap monitor.
That's a great point. Yeah. I think when I started on a laptop, a really old laptop that could barely handle a lot of games. It was able to do Portal and like Braid, a couple indie games, but I had a MacBook already, so I just had my MacBook up next to me with chat, and I didn't even really have bots at the time that had to be set up when I streamed. They just ran in the background, like MooBot, and all the other ones that you link to your Twitch account, Streamlabs too. So like it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Now that I've been streaming for 2 years and I have like a legit desk and like a nice computer and my 2 monitors, I can't imagine streaming without that now. But I remember just making what I had work because it doesn't have to be fancy. Yeah, prop up your phone. If you have an iPad or a tablet, open up the Twitch app and have your chat there. An extra laptop, or even if you have like a nice monitor for your gaming and then a crappy monitor for everything else, like whatever you have.
If you have a PlayStation or any console somewhere, you can run the Twitch app through your TV or a TV.
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
So a TV will work as well.
So many options.
Yeah.
This question I feel weird asking because it's directed toward me, and it's I don't want to waste your time. They asked what made you want to do a stream centered around Wheel of Geek Gen, and how did you manage to get a PowerPoint to work for it?
I would want to hear that.
Oh, okay. So the PowerPoint is a template that I found online, honestly, and I modified it visually to work for what I was doing. The reason that I knew that they existed is because I'm a teacher during the day, and I use a Jeopardy template to do reviews for my tests for kids, because it's more fun than me just like having them do flashcards. But the reason I wanted to do it on stream is because I had decided, and SK and Acorn both know this, we had talked about like I wasn't necessarily happy with what I was doing as a streamer. I don't feel like I can do what other people can. Me just sitting down playing games is fun for me. It's not necessarily fun for everybody watching all the time. So it's kind of the thing I do the least of now. So I was looking for things where like my strengths are hosting, moderating, interviews, and like stuff like this. This is what I'm best at. So I wanted to find things that I could do with that were not just people sitting around and chatting, but actually having fun together. And playing a game show was the first thing that came up because I love hosting game shows. So I came up with one that I thought anybody could play. We've had lots of people on who have never seen another game show which shall not be named, trademark infringing game show, and they've been able to play no problem because they're very simple rules. There's a lot of chance involved, and I wanted something that would work from a technical standpoint because I've done Jeopardy as well, but only with physical guests. So SK and I are talking about getting a buzzer system working, so that we can actually do it on stream at some point. That's the limitation for Jeopardy right now, is that we don't have people that can all push a buzzer at the same time and like have one person be accepted and lock out the others and stuff like that. Whereas I have a physical buzzer system here that I use with guests when I have guests in the studio. But yeah, I hope that answered the question.
And it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, like do what you're good at, focus on what you're good at.
Yeah.
You don't have to fit a mold. There's so many different types of streamers and so many different types of approaches and ways to handle a stream. And even like we just talked about, ways to set up for the stream with your tech. Like you don't have to fit a cookie cutter mold. Like make it yours.
Yeah.
It's a good way. And I think this goes with a lot of creative things. Start off by doing what you like that other people are doing and emulate. But then find where you can branch off and do something on your own based off that, because most people are not going to be happy trying to do what other people are doing. You have to do the thing that you either feel you're best at or that makes you happiest to do. So like there is kind of a mold of like what most streamers do. The things that I tend to enjoy the most on Twitch are the things that I know are unique to that person. Because I feel like they're their most genuine, authentic selves in those moments. So,
yeah.
We have one more question, unless you guys have any as well. Not chat, you guys that are actually here. The last question is, would you do a mental awareness stream one day? I assume they're asking for another thing kind of formatted in this vein, but talking about mental awareness. If it's like mental health and stuff, I personally don't feel, I mean, I know a little bit about it, but I personally don't feel qualified to kind of address things that serious?
I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, and I work for a hospital and I code psych patient accounts. And I always try, I think mental health is very important and it can manifest itself in different ways. I think I would love to do like a fundraiser or something for mental health awareness, but I try to on Twitter and like Discord and stuff, like we're all there for each other. And I want people to know that it's okay if they're having problems or they're having a down day or they need extra support. Like we're all in this together. And I think I always promote talking about mental health because I don't think it's helpful to ignore it. I think that it's something that we all deal with. We all have to work on together. So I would totally be down to do something like that at some point.
I would gladly reach out to Coco and have her on to talk. Like,
God,
I feel like I would,
Mhm.
I am qualified to facilitate that conversation, but I'm not qualified. Like, I don't have the background. I could talk about a little stuff because I had to take child psychology and things like that to be a teacher. So in
Mhm.
those veins, I can, and like special needs and that type of stuff. But aside from that, like I could help facilitate the conversation. But if we had enough people that were qualified to speak on it, we
Yeah,
could do that.
I love the topic, and I think it would be a really cool dynamic to have lots of different levels, like the facilitator who has an interest, the people who experience different mental challenges, and then people who have had light training, people who have had heavy training. So I would love to come up with something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down for anything and everything, conversation wise, mental health specifically. Like, I bleed into anxiety, all my problems. I like to just throw them on you guys as it is. But I would love to talk more. Really, I'd love to do more of these type of things in general. Anyway, talking
I was
about
going to say,
streamer topics, health topic, anything.
I'm a fan of this. So
This
yeah,
was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
This is my favorite. Like, aside from game show stuff, just sitting down and having conversations with people is my frickin' favorite. And my channel would be like only this if I could, like, every day. For reals.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the Naughty Muffin emote?
That's the Naughty Muffin
That's
emote.
so good. We're dropping Coco emotes in chat, guys, just in case you're wondering. If anybody's not following Coco, I did drop a link there. She's wonderful. She's been on Wheel as well. But she's wonderful to watch. You should make it a weekly thing. We will see, Greg. if all my content requires, if all my content requires 3 guests multiple times a week, I might as well dig my grave now, because
But I'm your guy, Rob. Come on.
That's right.
I'm here for you.
It's this panel every week. If you're okay with that, then that's all we need. I guess we start wrapping it up. We're about like 9:30 right now. We got through all the questions that we were asked.
good questions, guys.
Yeah.
Great questions.
That was great.
I know that was the questions they asked were awesome. We got in all sorts of different topics. I don't know if we do future things like these, if we go with more of kind of narrow, like go in with a narrow scope and then let it kind of widen out from there, or if we just kind of let it freeform like this. But this was really, really fun, and I didn't think about TwitchCon for 2 hours, so thanks, guys.
Oh, me neither.
Sometimes you need to stream to distract yourself
Yes.
from other things that are happening out in the world. So,
Absolutely.
what is this? I have a 3D printer, and helping to get the gaming buzzers might be a fun project to work on. There's already a Twitch on air light on the Thingiverse. Oh, that's super cool. Like the on air type thing. Well, the thing with the buzzers, I know someone else said that there was an app too, and we've looked at the app before for something else that we were talking about, but the fact that they're not linked up together is the problem with that.
I was going to write an app which links them together, like an app for buzzing in that will link and will notify Rob when we buzz in.
Yeah. If Rob's podcasts were Whose Line Is It Anyway, SK would be the Colin Mockery and Ryan Stiles, always there all the time.
Hey, those are 2 great guys. I would not mind being them.
Yeah.
Man, I would love to be on that level.
Those are good comparisons. Okay, so I think we're going to start to wrap things up. But before we do, not only should you be following people in chat, follow each one of these people because they're absolutely wonderful. You just heard from them for so long. But also beyond that, I want to give you guys an opportunity. I know SK, you have something coming up specifically this weekend that's pretty big, and then we'll go right around and let everybody talk about what they're doing coming up. So SK, what do you got?
Yeah, I got a doctor's appointment. Oh, you meant stream-wise. Okay, yeah. So I mean,
we can talk about the doctor's appointment too.
Okay, no.
I'd like to know where it is so I can go and pretend to be a doctor.
So okay, wow. Okay, well, I'm not coughing for you, Rob. But no, I do have. So we have some regular scheduled streams, but Sunday we don't normally stream on Sundays, but Sunday will be our 2-year anniversary stream. I'll go from I think 9 to 9. And then we'll do community night afterwards. But we're gonna do an all-day stream just as a celebration. We'll be doing community games and stuff like that and playing together. So just a celebration of being on Twitch and being in community for so long. So that'll be our thing. It'll be our party day.
Acorn,
What's the question?
what do you got coming up? If you know, I know you don't keep a strict schedule.
Not strict, but tomorrow actually, SK and I are planning on doing our forest co-op. We talked about. Why do you keep making those faces, SK?
Rob's agent like, did not tell me about this.
Rob's like, hey, SK, you have a big thing this weekend. You're like, no. The forest co-op stream is super fun. It's something we've been doing for a bit, and we were thinking about doing it tomorrow night and also Friday. So tune in tomorrow, maybe around like 7-ish, 8-ish. Go to our Twitters to find out the exact time tomorrow. Next week I should be streaming a lot, so if you are following me, wait for those notifications to pop up. And I will otherwise probably be an SK stream on Sunday because it seems I have the day off, so I'll be working and lurking.
Yeah, I'll be at an SK stream on Sunday. That's true. Katie?
I'm doing something all this month called Spooktober.
Yay.
So I'm playing all scary games when I do gaming. Tomorrow I'm dressing up as Wednesday Addams on stream, so that should be interesting.
Ooh.
I have a wig and it's kind of terrifying. So there's that. And then Sunday, it'll either be more scary games or something Halloween related. But yeah, and
I vote for co-op with SK on Sunday. Well, he's doing his thing there. So.
Rob, okay, listen. I wanted to do a co-op with Katie. You can't just force it like that, all right?
Look, I
guess it's happening, SK.
I like when you guys hang out with each other, and I just want to watch.
Rob, I'm trying to understand what Rob's feelings are. Earlier, he was like, when I go to SK streams, I think it's just me and him, and I pretend it's. Now Rob is like, I want this piece of content. SK, do what I say.
Look, if she's streaming over here and you're streaming over there, I'm making it easier on myself and just putting you guys in the same space.
Oh.
It's easier for me. This is about me and my needs. And apparently,
we all are here to satisfy Rob.
I'm also streaming tomorrow night. So we're gonna tear you guys apart. But again, this is what we do. This is what we do. If you like this kind of thing, I'll just be by myself tomorrow though. So I'll be taking calls from subs. So we do our chat time on Friday nights around like 7. And then we do our movie nights afterwards, and we'll be watching War for the Planet of the Apes.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I said I was gonna shout it out earlier, but I'm gonna take the liberty of posting Katie's Kotaku interview.
Oh,
super cool, super exciting.
I know, it's crazy. Thank you. I was.
You're welcome.
Doing
that is awesome.
thing.
Yeah,
it was kind of.
With that. Sorry.
What'd you say?
The Shinies by Acorn, absolutely.
I said I'm firing back with that.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
also, there's one other thing we have to do that I totally forgot to do at the beginning of chat. Guys, I've done this before, but never while he's actually here. I jumped on the butt touch bandwagon because SK and PB both have butt touch commands in their chat. So I added one. So please use that, everybody.
Don't use it, guys.
Right now. Everybody use the butt touch command.
Oh, I got your butt.
Everybody use it.
Oh, I got your butt.
Oh, you got.
Oh,
look at
weird.
that.
You got SK's butt.
Oh,
didn't
look
you?
at that. That's weird.
Oh, is it just for SK? Oh,
There you go. Oh, that makes me so happy.
It all touches my butt, guys. Thanks. You're rubbing me raw right now. I appreciate it.
I just wanted to be included. So I made a command. It's random, I swear.
Yeah, I swear it's random. That's why my chat is red right now. Silence night, silence night.
It never gets old to me. Never gets old.
That's great. I love that.
Okay, well, I was gonna do this, and I guess I still will. But since we were doing all this here, make sure you guys check out all Rob's content as well. He's
Yes.
Oh, just going with the overarching site. Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's your stuff, right?
That is my stuff.
Rob. That's the man.
He's
the man, guys. You check his stuff out. Check his posts out. They have some nice writing over there. I've read a couple, so go over and check all that stuff out.
Sometimes you see writing from other streamers too.
Oh, yeah.
It happens.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah. I'm not Kotaku, but I want to be.
Someday you will.
Someday. All right. I think that's a good time to wrap it up. Thanks to our wonderful guests who are all super generous in doing this and taking their time out of their busy schedules. You guys know, you heard how busy they are. And yeah, I never know how to dismount. That's my worst thing. Like, how does one
Stick
end
it,
this
Rob.
stream?
Stick it.
Should we raid somebody? Should we do that?
Not at TwitchCon raid.
A not at TwitchCon raid? Should we raid somebody that's at TwitchCon with a not at TwitchCon raid?
That'd be funny.
I actually checked it. There's not really many channels doing it.
There aren't. That's a
No.
shame.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Not
a
many
shame.
people on.